there are too many games.
Too many games.
There are too many motherfucking games right now, man. There are two people are like, somebody say, "Oh, did you try out that new weapon in Apex Legends?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I barreled through New Dawn, Far Cry New Dawn in like 2 days, and then I spent 2 days beating Crackdown. I got Metro, got Anthem coming out tomorrow. You know, there's just too many fucking games. Trials is
you mean you're not signed up for the EA Origin access and got your week ahead start on Anthem, which pissed everybody off because it's not working correctly?
You know what? We may have to come back to this, but I'm starting to think that EA Access is a bad idea because every time a game comes out 3 days early on EA Access, people are like, "This is garbage," and then like the actual game with the day one patch comes out, and it's like, "Oh no, well this was okay." It just
have you heard? I mean, I don't know if that's a news story you're going to be talking about later.
It is.
Okay, then we'll go into it later.
We'll talk about it later. But for now, welcome back everybody to the Rage Select podcast. Right here, Rage Select. I am Jeff.
I'm John.
You know what?
Sorry for jumping the gun.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I don't tell anybody ahead of time. This is like a secret grab bag. Yeah. Nobody knows what's going to happen before the podcast.
What's funny is everyone else that comes on this podcast doesn't give two shits about video games, so doesn't look at the news. Me, on the other hand, I am chocked full of all of it. Just don't know what's going to be talked about or not.
Just a brief defense. I think Michael gives a shit about.
I do. I know.
News.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Before we get started, you'll all have to excuse me. I am like on hour 24 of trying to quit smoking. And I slept for like 14 hours last night. I'm a combination of like too rested and not rested enough and full of jittery energy. And I kind of want to stab somebody and I kind of can breathe a little better. So that's cool. And like, just there's a lot of things happening inside of me right now. Some of them are biological. Some of them are emotional. Some of them are spiritual.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is that, I can't.
This sounds like it's going to be a fun episode.
I can't predict what's going to happen. I cannot predict what's going to happen. I'll tell you, though.
Because I'm all over the place.
You're all over the place as well. Good. Great. Everybody's all over the place.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. Let's start off on a high note.
I'm okay with that.
Let's start off on a real big high note because
it gives us a better ledge to jump off of.
Yes. Then the graph will go down instead of just being at the bottom and just like a mesa. I finally got a chance to watch Into the Spider-Verse yesterday. Yes. And wow, boy, howdy, yeehaw, that was a really great movie. I cannot wait for it to come out on home video so I can get it in 4K because it was absolutely beautiful. I mean,
it's gorgeous.
Art style is spectacular. Story is great. You know what? I liked the way that in this one particular movie, you could see like a lot of the complaints that people have had with a lot of other movies just in general, and I'm just like, no, man, this is great. Had a character for everyone. It was a great little storyline. It was like looked really cool and different. Soundtrack was real good. In fact, I mean,
soundtrack was really good.
I don't want to
still listen to it.
Get into like the weeds because I know that people have a lot of feelings. I don't really have a lot of feelings, but like, if you were going to nominate one of them Marvel movies for an Academy Award, I would put Spider-Verse before I would put in Black Panther. And I understand, I mean, like, I wasn't as hot on Black Panther as everybody else. I think it's a good movie. I didn't know if I would put it as like one of the best movies that came out last year. But I think that Spider-Verse is such a good movie that like I think I could literally tell anybody you should go watch this movie. Like, it's fun and it's 2 hours long and it's an origin story mixed with a bunch of comic book nerd shit mixed with a bunch of like, fan service for other people, and it's even got Nicolas Cage and like what more do you want from a movie? I asked
sequel.
A sequel. Second one immediately. I mean, let me put it this way. I think that movie blows the pants off of every Spider-Man movie that's come out, including the Tobey Maguire ones. I mean, for the time, right? Nobody else was doing that shit. But like, if you just stack that shit up against each other, I'll take Into the Spider-Verse over any of those, except for Venom, because
I haven't seen Venom.
I'm just kidding. Venom is garbage.
Oh, okay.
I like it, but it's garbage.
That seems to be everybody's response. Like, I like that movie. It's fun, but it's complete garbage. It's not a good movie, but I fucking love it.
Yeah. It's horse shit, but it was watchable.
Like
most people back in 2 hours.
Most people I know were like, it's complete garbage, and I don't understand how it was made. But you know what? I loved it, and I can't wait for the sequel.
Yeah. The only
problem all right.
The only problem I have is that like they've got a black symbiote fighting a gray symbiote at the end of that movie, and it's like, once you start getting two goop monsters
that are very similar,
that are
in
black
color.
and gray fighting each other, and the camera's moving all over the place, and I'm just like, I can't tell who's winning or who's losing. I'm like, oh no, Venom got hit. I'm like, something happened to somebody. Yeah. Also, I got a chance to see Creed 2 because that finally came out on VOD, and I was a really big fan of Creed.
I have not seen that.
And I really liked Creed 2. I don't know what it is, John, because I'm not like a sports movie guy, and I'm not even like
the Rocky movies, and I include the Creed movies as part of this, are all fucking amazing.
Yeah,
those are great.
I don't know what it is, man, but those movies, they make me fucking weep like a baby.
Yeah.
I get real emotional about fucking Rocky Balboa, especially old sad Rocky. Like, I like old sad Rocky. He makes me feel okay with being old and sad myself. So did you see any good movies?
I haven't seen any good movies, but I watched the premiere of Doom Patrol on DC's streaming service.
Oh, okay.
Which was really good.
Yeah.
I also watched all of Umbrella Academy on Netflix, which was also really good.
Okay. Now that was based on a comic?
So Umbrella Academy is based on a comic book written by Gerard Way, who, for those who don't know, is the former lead singer of My Chemical Romance. They're not a band anymore.
Okay.
He after he ended, he had he has a comic career. He writes comics. Funny enough, he also wrote Doom Patrol for a while as well. So those two shows coming out on the same day is fucking amazing.
That's a little strange. Like, happy birthday to you, My
Umbrella
Chemical
Academy is
Romance.
actually heavily influenced by Doom Patrol.
Okay.
Which is kind of how he got to
Give
write
me
Doom
what's
Patrol.
the elevator pitch for Umbrella Academy? Because I keep thinking it's a Resident Evil thing. Every time I see Umbrella Academy.
So it's
it's like a bad multiplayer Resident Evil game. Is that what it is?
I'm trying to think the best way to describe it. It's basically a scientist or a professor, scientist, whatever you want to call him, brings together a band of children with special abilities to be superheroes, and they grow up to be dysfunctional and damaged, and then he dies, and they all come back together to figure out what happened and goes from there.
So kind of like that X-Men arc in The Boys, but not as gross and Garth Ennis, not that. Like a nice version of that. It's more crazy, wackadoo, Wes Anderson.
Okay, like I said, it's more influenced by Doom Patrol, which for people who are not familiar with Doom Patrol, a lot of people think X-Men ripped off Doom Patrol because it came out 6 months before X-Men.
Okay.
And Doom Patrol is about a scientist who's bringing in a bunch of misfits who are not necessarily well-to-do people. I mean, they're good people. They want to do good. They want to be here, but they're not necessarily...
They're kind of fucked up in the head.
Yeah, a little bit. And if they're not fucked up in the head, their power is less of a, oh, I have this power, let's go do good things with it, and more of a, I have this power and it's ruining my life.
Yep.
But I guess I can do good things with it, but it's ruining my life. Both the comic for Doom Patrol, if you ever want to read something with Doom Patrol, go read Grant Morrison's run on Doom Patrol. It's probably the best Doom Patrol run on 100%. There. Gerard Way's more recent run on Doom Patrol is very picking up where that left off.
Okay.
In comic form, the show I actually think it's more based on the Grant Morrison stuff. It's only had one episode out so far. It's a lot of fun. Brendan Fraser is great in it.
So they didn't dump that whole thing. It was just like
not
it's
for
gonna
Doom
be like
Patrol.
one a week until
it's one a week.
Okay.
Because that's the way DC Universe does their shows. They do one a week, except for in the case of Young Justice, in which it was 3 episodes a week.
Okay.
Which is weird. Umbrella Academy takes some of the ideas and plots from the different Umbrella Academy comics and then mashes them up together and kind of weirdly changes things.
Okay.
I don't know if I would say changes them for the better or changes them for the worse, but it is undoubtedly Umbrella Academy. I actually really enjoyed the show.
Do you think it's better than the where would you rank it amongst the Marvel Netflix shows?
Oh, this is fucking amazing compared to the Marvel Netflix shows.
Okay.
If this is what Netflix plans to do now that they no longer have Marvel Netflix,
right,
they're better off.
Okay.
This is heads above
Okay.
better than the Marvel Netflix.
And just from the description,
because it's also not dark and gritty.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it sounds like it's a little bit more lighthearted than that?
Yeah, I mean, there are dark and gritty moments in it, but it's a little, a little weird, a little, like I said, there's some moments of like Wes Anderson moments in it and stuff like that, just where weird shit happens. I mean, you got to think about these characters. You have one character who's literally has the ability to talk with the dead, but he's so fucked up by it that to make it so that he can't hear the voices, he's basically become a drug addict.
Okay. Jesus. Okay. All right.
You have another.
Sounds delightfully charming.
Yeah, but he's also the most lighthearted and relatable character in the entire show.
Okay.
You have another character. There's also a talking fucking monkey throughout the entire thing.
Sold.
Yeah.
You got me done. Ka-ching.
There's a talking monkey.
Yep.
You have two time traveling serial killers.
No, you don't have to tell me anymore. Talking monkey had me.
Wearing goofy cartoon masks. You have a time traveler who one of the kids is able to travel through time, and he's like 60 years old, but he's in the body of a 9-year-old. Or not 9-year, like 12, 13-year-old or whatever.
Okay.
The entire cast for the show is fucking great.
Okay. The only one I recognized was Ellen Page.
She's one of the characters. One of the other characters, the one who's actually plays the drug addict, is played by one of the actors from Misfits.
Okay.
I think, which I've actually liked everything I've seen him in. Like, I've seen him in a few different things. He's really good. The guy who plays Luther, who is kind of like the leader of the team, his most notable role is Merlin, the TV show.
Oh.
As the main character, Merlin.
Okay.
Which he looks so different from how he looked in Merlin.
Okay.
Like, I looked at a picture, I was like, I don't believe that's him. And then I looked at a picture of Merlin from the TV show, I was like, kind of?
This guy, Robert Sheehan?
Robert Sheehan is the guy from Misfits.
Oh, okay.
The guy from Merlin is
Tom Hopper? Tom Hopper.
Yes, Tom Hopper is the guy from Merlin.
Okay.
Tom Hopper and Ellen Page are probably the two. Mary J. Blige is in it as
right
as a character. Like I said, it's just like everyone in the show is really good.
I'm gonna have to check the show out.
Yeah, I think you'll like the show, and if you like the show, I would definitely recommend checking out the comics. The comics are different. There are similar story arcs for certain characters, and certain characters have story arcs in this that don't have any arc at all in the comic.
Yeah. I think it's just like right now there's kind of some overload, like when it comes to that sort of thing, because like between Doom Patrol and then like there's that what's that sci-fi one, Killer Class or Deadly Class
Deadly Class.
It just feels like there's a lot of superhero coming at me these days.
The thing is it's not really superhero.
Yeah.
It's less your standard superhero. I mean, outside of maybe Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol, like Deadly Class is not a superhero show. That's basically Hogwarts for assassins. Is basically the pitch for Deadly Class.
Okay.
But yeah, I fucking loved Umbrella Academy. It was great.
Okay. Good.
And Doom Patrol is fun too. Like I really like the first episode of that. Brendan Fraser was great in it. Matt Bomer's great in it. Everybody's great in it.
I'm getting closer and closer to feeling like I might have to sign up for that DC thing, at least for like a month, just to see if I'm into it, because I do want to watch Justice League, the Young Justice, the third season, because I was really into that show. But
so I will say, as far as the DC Universe app goes, I bought it specifically so I could watch Doom Patrol, not knowing if it was going to be good. And it was one of those things that if it wasn't good, I was going to cancel my subscription.
Right.
Because I thought Titans was kind of
Yeah.
Like, it was and very low budget. Like, I was actually worried about Doom Patrol because Titans, very cheap looking.
Okay.
Like, even the episode where Doom Patrol appears in Titans is very cheap looking. Matter of fact, they even changed a couple of actors. Like Timothy Dalton plays a character in the
he's the professor, right? He's the guy that brings them all together.
Otherwise known as the Chief. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Titans episode, it's played by a completely different actor, completely different ethnicity, everything.
Wow. Okay.
Like, it's kind of a jarring, kind of like, wait, what? But You could consider it a pilot if you wanted, but with that, Doom Patrol does not look cheap. It looks like they went, all right, we got a bunch of money for this DC universe. Let's pump it into Doom Patrol.
Okay,
and I'm really like, I feel like just off of one episode, as it stands right now, if the rest of Doom Patrol can stay as consistently good throughout the rest of its season, then it is the show worth getting DC Universe for.
Okay,
and right after that is done, they are the second half of the new season of Young Justice, and then a Swamp Thing after that, and then you get some Harley Quinn cartoon and Stargirl. And
see, I guess what I really, the thing that has a lot of potential for me is that I really have kind of broken with DC over the whole New 52 thing because I stopped reading comics before that happened, and so that happened, and then suddenly it was like the animated movies were all set in the New 52 universe, and I was like, I don't like any of this, but like, I read Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, and if you're making a show based on Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, I think that's a good idea, and I'd be interested to see it. I've read Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing, and if you're going to make an Alan Moore Swamp Thing show, I'd be interested to see how you do that. Like, those are things that I can actually relate to, as opposed to, I mean, like, everybody talked about how good the Court of Owls Batman thing was, but then that was in the New 52, and I never really got it.
So I will say the animated movie for the Court of Owls that was Batman versus Robin or whatever the fuck it was garbage. It's a fucking garbage movie. I fucking hate that movie so much. They can go fucking burn in hell for making that piece of shit.
Yeah! It took my cigarettes!
The Court of Owls thing comic is great. And here's the great thing. If you do end up signing up for the DC Universe, you get access to a shit ton of comics, too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
you don't just get the streaming stuff. You get access to the comics as well.
A lot of, like, back issues and stuff?
Yeah. Like a lot of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol is on there. I think the first volume of Jared Way's Doom Patrol story arc is on there. They got, like, tons of Green Lantern stuff, tons of Superman stuff, tons of Batman stuff, tons of New 52 stuff, tons of stuff from Rebirth. It's all I'm not trying to I'm not being paid by them to say this, but I was actually pleasantly surprised with DC Universe, and I love Doom Patrol enough that I would say it's definitely worth it.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's jump into the actual news. Or we're just going to talk about comic books for too long.
Of course.
So speaking of jarring transitions, hey everybody, Reggie's out of Nintendo. Reggie
in April.
How do you say his name? Feel-Zame. This big towering guy. Reggie's such an interesting character because it's like he's very wooden, but he's also very likable. Like he's not exactly
a weird charismatic.
Yeah. Like whenever he talks, like he had this whole video that came out of him just saying like, "Hey everybody, I'm leaving," but he's like, "Hi everyone, it's me, Reggie. You know, that guy from Nintendo. I'll be leaving in April." And it's just like, how is it that you're like the most likable person in games, and like you're such a wooden corporate mouthpiece? Like, but I guess the guy just seems to have had a sense of humor, and he's been there. He came in right before like the Wii launched, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he had anything to do with like the GameCube, but he was like Wii and like DS and 3DS and the Wii U and the Switch and all that stuff.
I think you're right.
So yeah, he's taken off. At April to be with family. It's always a question in my mind how much influence he actually had over like the things that were happening at Nintendo, or whether it was like he was just a very, was he making like really hardcore strategic decisions, or was he just like kind of the face of the company? I really still don't know that, but
I think he made some decisions, especially for the Nintendo of America side of things, because that's what he was the CEO or the head of.
Right.
But yeah. So I mean, and I don't even think he was intended to be like the face of Nintendo. I think it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And Nintendo just went, all right, fucking do it. And he's like, okay, I fucking love this job kind of thing. So he's like, all right, I'll be here to do that.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, you look at his face, he's generally likable. He talks in a very corporate, wooden way, but also is not afraid to go there for a joke.
Right.
Like, again, going back to the whole "my body is ready."
Right.
It's so awkwardly said that it becomes endearing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you could tell that he wasn't a person that was brought in because he was going to be like a slick. He's like the polar opposite of what's her name from Ubisoft, Archer, whatever. Like bringing the one that hosted E3 Lana from Archer.
Oh yeah. I can't think of her name right now.
Damn
but
it! But it's like he's just whereas she's like an actress and a stand-up and somebody that's used to being in front of the crowds. I don't know. He was just kind of like a robot Frankenstein that would say the things that needed to be
He's
said.
the Reginator.
Yes, exactly. And the strange thing is, he's going to be replaced by a guy named Doug Bowser.
Bowser's taking over Nintendo.
I know, it's like,
oh no, Mario lost.
did you guys do this on purpose, or like, did this guy when he was 8 years old he was like, I'm Doug Bowser, and one of these days I'm gonna own Nintendo. He's just been working his way up through the ranks all the time. Anyway, I tell you what, it's so nice to have a story that's just like. It's not like Reggie had to leave because he was, he had was fucking somebody, or like,
or that something bad happened to him and he had to step out. Not even that he did something wrong, but that something bad happened to him. None of that's how he's just retiring. It's just he's done. And he wants to spend time with his family, and and I feel like they didn't even have to do like all the hoopla that they did today for this announcement.
Yeah.
Which, mind you, by hoopla I just mean they released a video of him saying, "Hey, I'm retiring."
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to do that.
No.
But they did, and it feels like a big thing.
This is one of those things where like, what was the Nintendo, not Nintendo Direct, but they had that thing where they released a video where they were just like, hey, everybody, Metroid 3 or Metroid Prime 3 ain't going how we want it to. We're going to give it back to Rare. That means we got to start over. Trust me, it's still being worked on. It's like they were much more transparent. Normally, I feel like we would read about something like this in like an earnings call or just like a press release. And so I kind of like the fact that Nintendo has at least gained a certain amount of showmanship just to be like, why don't we just put something together and say, bye-bye, Reggie,
And again, it was endearing because not only did Reggie basically not only said, hey, I'm out, but he was also like, and hey, thank you for making this the best career, that I could have ever had.
Yeah.
Like, thank you to the fans who have been all nice. And it's like, oh, that's...
Oh, I mean...
We love you, Reggie.
I like the part at the end where he's like, although I'm giving up my title as like CEO of Nintendo America, there's one title I'll never give up, and that's Nintendo fan. And I was just like, all right, motherfucker. Like, internet's really been pulling at my heartstrings recently, and I don't really appreciate it. I like feeling stuff. Internet. I'm looking at you, Kit Bull. So anyway, Reggie's out, and I don't know. We'll see if it makes any difference.
Bowser's in.
Reggie's out, and Bowser's in. What if Reggie, like before he started working at Nintendo, was much smaller, and the first thing that they did on the first day, they gave him the mushroom, and they were like, "Oh my god, that made him a lot bigger than we thought." So, all right. So there's a nice feel-good story to start out with. Let's go to a whole string of other stuff that maybe is feel-good. So, as we were talking about before, Anthem launched early. One of the things that apparently has been happening in Anthem, and I'm not sure if this is because of the low player count or whatever, but apparently if you go into a queue for like a multiplayer thing, some level like 2 or 3 people have been getting like matched into people that are doing the last boss fight in the game. Like, again, I think that there's some kind of like player scaling going on there, and that there aren't that many people, but that like literally a level 2 person who's like, I need to do one of these raids so I can move forward in the storyline. And it's like, then they get auto-populated into somebody who's doing the last boss of the video game. Like there's somebody online who literally had a Twitch stream where a level 3 person came out and they dropped out of the match because they didn't want to see the end of the game. And then it was backfilled with a level 2 person instead. Anthem, maybe sort some of your shit out. Because
that's not even the only issue.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Apparently, there was a big old day 1 patch.
Because there were really bad loading times. And not just loading times as like, oh, it's going to load you. Okay, well, sometimes you'd be in the middle of a mission and it would need to load the second half of the mission and then go into a 5 to 10 minute loading screen.
The loading times weren't all that great in the demo. The thing that I thought was more interesting was apparently in the mid-game, there's a section of quests where you have to unlock 15 of these treasure chests. And you get the treasure chests at the end of 3-person raids that you go on. And during that early access point, it would be a need greed like roll thing. And whoever got that chest was the only person who got to open that chest. So in those 3-man raids, your luck would determine, and you had to get 15 of these things in order to move forward. Apparently that's been changed. The loading times have been changed. You know, when I played the demo, they had this whole thing about setting up combos where it's like, you know, if you freeze and then I do a physical attack, then like it'll give you a big damage boost, but it was never really clear how to do that. They've got some stuff in there for that. Apparently there's a lot of changes that are happening between this 3-day early access and the thing when it comes out. Back to the point that we were talking about of like, I really think that, I mean, I don't know, because I feel like there was a big old day one patch that happened for Andromeda after the 3-day thing, and I feel like there was a big old day one patch for like Battlefield that happened after the 3-day thing, and I don't know, man, like...
Also, the fact that the day one patch also broke things for PC people.
Oh, yeah.
It broke the frame rate. Apparently,
yeah. So, so far, all of the things that I've seen from Anthem have been like, which I actually think is promising because you can fix like if it was fundamentally broken, if it was like, you know, 20s,
Fallout 76,
right? If it was a bad concept across the board, then you couldn't do anything to tweak it. Hopefully, EA, because I mean, I feel like with a game like Destiny or one of these games where you can pump money in, you don't need everybody to love it, right? You only need some people to really love it. If you have a small number of people who love it so much that they're willing to keep putting money into it, then like that's almost worth more to you as a publisher than having a game with a really big player base, right? A small dedicated player base that's willing to keep putting in $10 every week for more credits and blah, 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 blah. Could, I feel like in a lot of ways, keep your game going longer than having the other, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't got a chance to play it yet because I play on the PlayStation and EA doesn't have that shit on the PlayStation. I mean, like, I liked what I played of the demo. Like, it was pretty fun, just the flying and shooting and doing stuff. The main issue that I had is an issue that I keep having more and more often these days, which is storyline. And I don't know if it's because I was, like, right in the middle of it was in a vertical slice that was, like, 6 hours into the game.
Yeah.
Because nothing was explained, and I was just like, why do these people all look like desert nomads, but then they've got flying mech suits? And, like, who's the bad guy? And what the fuck is going on here? So while I like the flying around, there weren't any emotional stakes in why I was flying around, which eventually can become a problem because you just start to be like, Yonzo, I'm done here.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know, John. What are you thinking?
I have no interest.
You really not looking forward to it?
As soon as it was like a games of service announces Anthem is going to be a games of service like Destiny or whatever, I was like, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
As soon as that was announced, I was like, I don't care. I'm out.
I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic because I found this week. I mean, I don't think we have a story so I'm not stepping on anything. But like, oh geez, there's a ad on this Kotaku story for the same nicotine things that I'm using. Anyway, I found that by the time I got around to playing Crackdown 3 that I had zero expectations for Crackdown 3, and I think that worked very well in the fact that I had a really good time with Crackdown 3 as opposed to being like, this is going to be it. This is going to be the killer app. This is going to be the Grand Theft Auto 5 of Microsoft exclusive video games. It's going to be the greatest game to come out this year. And I was like, I don't know, it looks kind of shitty to me. And then I played it and I was like, yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of shitty, but it's fun. Like, you know, there's all kinds of neon explosions and rocket launchers and mechs and shit to blow up. And Terry Crews is yelling the entire time. So, like, what? Yeah, that's fine. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. By the time this comes out, people will already know. But, yeah, we'll see. Speaking of games of service, let's talk a little bit about Fortnite. This is a little bit of a jog to one side. I don't know if you've seen this, but YouTube is having a problem right now.
When are they not, Jeff?
I know.
When are they not?
I know. This is one that's weird where it's like, apparently... oy vey. This is gross. Like, you have these videos that have underage kids in them. Like, some of them are like, I'm a 12-year-old and check out this new bikini that I bought today. And then the comment sections have just become like just gross. Like really, really, really gross. People like penciling in time codes where there's stuff that's like really suggestive. And apparently I was watching Philip DeFranco show on this. Apparently, there was another YouTuber that found this and found that once you like get into this category of YouTube, the suggested just kind of keeps you going down this rabbit hole into more and more gross places.
Yeah.
Now, I have zero sympathy for that. I do kind of understand though with the amount of videos that YouTube is hosting on a daily basis. I guess I can sometimes understand how this stuff gets past them, but I still don't like the fact that YouTube, they make all this money and then they're relying on their algorithm to deal with shit and that's abused all the time. Anyway, long story short, Fortnite has basically decided to stop advertising on YouTube until they get their shit straightened out, that's a good move for Fortnite. I mean, you don't want to be like when YouTube is in the middle of one of these bullshit things, probably better to err on the side of good. So
yeah. Also, I think most of their advertisement probably comes from Twitch. So
yeah,
they're not losing anything by not advertising on YouTube.
Does anybody not know what Fortnite is? Is there anybody in this world right now who doesn't know what Fortnite is? Because yeah. Anyway, let's move past all that horrible craziness to the new hotness when it comes to Battle Royale, and that's Apex Legends. So last week, Apex Legends got a new rifle called the Havoc, which is good. I you know what? One of the things that I like more than anything about what we're seeing with Apex Legends is that Apex Legends seems to be moving kind of like Fortnite, where they're doing stuff. They're adding stuff. Here's a new... there's a couple even stories that I didn't point out this week. One is that apparently there's some Twitch Amazon loot that you can get, some of the subscriber stuff. But there's a new gun that has a couple of different modes. It can be an automatic, or you can charge it up to be a long-range sniper rifle. And that is in the game right now. So glad to see that stuff is coming down. And then, we're about a week away from March, and they think they're doing their first... expansion pack battle pass thing in March, which is great. And I gotta tell you, I am in Apex Legends corner. I hope that Apex Legends does good because, again, I've talked about this a bunch of times, but I feel like Respawn has gotten fucked ever since they came into existence, essentially.
I don't disagree.
And so I'm glad to see that Apex Legends, I was hoping that it's not a flash in the pan. I guess it's probably a little too early to see whether it has honest to God staying power. Maybe in another month or so we'll see what the player count is to make sure that nobody's ditching it. But people seem to be really enjoying it. And even I went back in and played a little bit and was still enjoying it. It's interesting to me that nobody's made that. I feel like Apex Legends' claim to fame is that nobody's made a battle royale game like Apex Legends. It's just kind of like a straightforward, I don't know. All the stuff that it does, I'm really, really liking. Do you play it at all? Have you played any bouts of it?
I have not played any bouts of it. I downloaded it on my Xbox because Amanda's brother said he downloaded it on his Xbox and wanted somebody to play with.
Okay.
But then I never launched it.
Oh, okay.
So it's downloaded. It's there. It's waiting for me to play it. I renewed my gold subscription. Just have not.
I guess, it's also possible that it might have been because in the first dozen matches that I played, I won. And it was the first time I've ever won a battle royale game. And I was like, yay, I did it. So this is what it feels like. Because I never got close in Fortnite. Fortnite was just I don't know. I can't deal with the building in Fortnite. And, PUBG was just too much of a snipe fest. But anyway, speaking of Apex Legends, there's a really interesting kind of knock-on effect from Apex Legends. Apparently, so there's a VR game that we actually played, I think for a Patreon video, Amanda and I, that is called Apex Construct, where you're jumping around the world and you've got a bow and an arrow and you're shooting mechs and stuff. And apparently their Steam page has just gotten a lot more traffic recently because people are on Steam looking for Apex Legends and all they find is Apex Construct because, Apex Legends is EA, so it's on Origin. It's not on Steam, but people don't know that, so they're on Steam looking for it. And, it's...
Yeah, there's also a old racing game for the original Xbox called Apex, which I made a joke oh look, it's the precursor to Apex Legends.
Yeah. So apparently their Steam page has a 4,000% traffic increase over the last few weeks.
Jesus,
as people try to find Apex Legends on Steam. I don't know. Do you think? What do you think? Do you think that it would be better for EA if they put Apex Legends on Steam? Because like it's being free to play, like it's a good driver to their service, but Steam has such a huge player base that it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you give it like 6 months exclusivity.
There's a part of me that's like, maybe I know everyone's upset about the fracturing of the PC games market,
right?
Between everything, but it's part of me's kind of like, you know what? That's the only way Steam is going to learn their shit, is if they don't get the things that everybody wants to play, and people have to go elsewhere to get it.
Yep.
So that they can then make the changes that need to be made. As much as I don't want to have 6 different installers, launchers on my computer.
Nope.
I'm kind of okay with it.
There was a lot of people. The big story for that was Metro going to the Epic Store on the PC, and there were a lot of people that were mad at it. And it was like, guys, Steam has had 10 years to get their shit straightened out, like 10 uncontested years where all they did was just print shitloads of money. Like they just printed themselves shitloads of money, and it took Epic adjusting the split for them to even consider adjusting the split between developers and them as like the platform holder. So yeah, I don't know, I'm with you on that. I wonder how Origin does, because every time I've launched Origin, it seems like a pretty crappy service.
No, it does scream garbage when you, like, my computer screams garbage. Like literally it says the words garbage when you open the app. It's like, garbage.
You're about to launch. Well, I told you, I came over to your house, I set that as the audio cue in Windows for launch Origin, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish they'd all get their shit straightened out, because half of them are like, they feel like malware. Like Origin feels like malware when I launch
Ubisoft's thing feels like malware.
Yeah. Uplay totally feels like malware when I launch it.
It feels like malware on my goddamn console.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Let's not even talk about the PC. Uplay feels like malware on my fucking Xbox.
Yep. I like the fact that because of this horse shit that, what was it, around Windows 7 where they like gave you the option to hide every single thing that was by your clock that was down in the bottom corner, because everything decided that it needs to launch. Hey, you want to launch EA Origin when your system boots? Like, nope. How about Steam? Nope, not that either. How about Epic? Nope. Oh, too bad. They all launch when you launch your system unless you turn it off by default. What about Uplay? You want that to launch every time you launch your computer? Fuck no. Get the fucking shut up. Anyway, sorry. Speaking of things that need to shut up, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has a new mode. They also have a new commercial that I really like with who is this guy? Is that Stellan Skarsgård or Alexander Skarsgård? It's one of them Skarsgård boys. No, that's the guy from Thor, right?
No, yeah.
That's the guy from Fargo. I'm going to look up his name. Anyway, they've got what I think is a kind of a clever ad.
It is. It's very clever. But it's also super long, so I don't know where this ad would air.
Well, they have some shorter versions of it.
Yeah.
Peter Stormare. There we go.
Peter Stormare. Thank you.
So the whole concept is that Peter Stormare is quote unquote the replacer, and that everybody's off playing Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and so he's been doing everything for everybody while they're off playing Black Ops 4, and that is why the government shutdown happened, and like
stock markets crashed.
Right.
And they cut to actual real news footage
that big
of things that happened.
The Academy Awards don't have a host this year, and I kind of like that. Like, I kind of like it because you know what he reminds me of is those, what are they, like Allstate commercials that have God, I'm so bad at names. That one guy that's like, he's like the disaster guy.
Oh yeah.
He was on 30 Rock.
He was also in John Wick.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that, where he's just kind of like this weird, fucked up force of nature. But I like Peter Stormare. I like this. Oh yeah, he caused Brexit by mistranslating to the UK ambassador. I don't know. It's kind of nice, maybe in this world of garbage that we live in to see somebody put together all of the horrible shit you've got to watch on the news and then make like kind of a joke about it that, you know, nobody could actually take seriously, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's about Call of Duty. But anyway, I like this. I like this. I think this is way better than their dumb, let's put a bunch of YouTubers shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Or
no,
like,
no. I agree. This is actually fun, and the only thing that disappoints me is the fact that for him to replace me at my job, I'd have to actually be playing
Call of Duty.
That's
That's kind of the Kobayashi Murphy of this commercial is like, well, Peter Stormare will come do your job, but then you have to play Call of Duty 4 all the time.
while he's playing, working your job.
Like,
Like, that's what you have to be doing. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
Anyway, so Call of Duty Black Ops 4 also, and the whole reason this is here is because they launched a new thing called Operation Grand Heist, which is a new update. They put a few things on. There's some new characters. There's some new cosmetics. There's a new area on the Blackout map that is like an old West town, one of their older maps mixed with one of their zombie maps. There's some new game modes. There's like some kind of heist mode. There's some new maps for the multiplayer where you've got like a casino and like a police shootout. The whole thing seems to be kind of based on this whole like cops and robbers theme. As always, I mean, like they have a really nice trailer that's showing it off, that shows all the cool stuff that you can do. There's like an outfit of somebody like wearing like all these rhinestones, kind of a Vegas, like a Elvis impersonator. Yeah, all this looks great, but then you come back to I got to play Call of Duty. And I don't want to do that.
I mean, for the people who like Call of Duty, which, if you like it, that's perfectly fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you like it, this looks like it'd be just more fun for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then all this is a free update, right?
Yeah.
And they have the battle pass that gets you more stuff the way that Fortnite does, right? So I think but if I'm not mistaken, there's also loot boxes in Call of Duty Black Ops 4 now. So it's like a $60 game that has loot boxes and then also has a battle pass for you to buy. And I don't know. I mean, part of it is just, if you're going to go that far, just give the game away for free, for fuck's sake. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure it still does relatively well for them. There's also some new zombies content that's in there. So, hey, if you like Call of Duty Black Ops, if you like it, then might as well go get it. You're probably already playing it. You don't need me to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, just go play it if you want.
I mean, it's no Terry Crews yelling at me, but What is?
I kind of want every game to have Terry Crews yelling at me.
Yeah.
I was amazed at how there's very little actual Terry Crews in Crackdown.
Yeah.
And yet that opening cinematic is really good. And really, I'm just like, yeah, all right, I want to make Daddy Duck proud, man. Like, speaking of things that will not make Daddy Duck proud, if you're playing PUBG and you're playing it on the mobile version, apparently the mobile version of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is having a crossover event with Resident Evil 2, where there's like BOWs and zombies and lickers and stuff.
Mr. X shows up, and
there's like a day-night cycle where you can get points during the day, but you're still doing the Black Ops thing. But then all this is for the mobile one?
yeah,
Like,
it seems to only be the mobile one from according to this trailer or whatever that you showed me.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
and I'm like, why only the mobile one? This seems like something that you would want to put in the full game on PC.
yeah.
That would not only be a fun thing for people who already play, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, something new for them to do, but also be something to entice people to play who haven't played, or maybe lapsed players to come back to PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Yeah. Like, Apex Legends has a new gun, and Fortnite has hoverboards, and then PUBG has the winter map, I guess. Vikendi was last month or whatever. I don't know, man. Like, I'm still wondering. I don't really know anybody that plays PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds anymore. I mean, when it first came out, I knew some people who played it, but they got tired of it. And then it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the Fallout 76 of Battle Royale games, where I keep reading stories about, like, oh, they banned a bunch of people that were using aimbots, and like half of them were people that were playing the game competitively. And I was like, what? You can play the game competitively? But I don't know. I feel like this would be a good thing. This is better than the dumb Joker Harley Quinn skins that they put into actual PUBG. But I need more. I need more from you, PUBG.
Yeah, my biggest thing is, why is it on the mobile only? Why isn't it on the full version?
I mean, at least I think it is. Like this whole story that I'm reading about, it just says
mobile. Yeah,
it's on the
everything
mobile.
says mobile.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're going to be putting it in the main one, but it seems like that would be a fun thing if you smash those two things together. I don't know. Give you something to root for. Yeah. Speaking of games that I'm always rooting for, we got some Overwatch news this week.
Yeah.
So around this time in 2018 was when Brigitte came out, and in 2017 was when Orisa came out, and we just got a little teaser video on Twitter that has a data dump from Talon, who are the baddies, and then if you follow that through, there's like a memo mentioning somebody called Baptiste, who is apparently a healer, but also in part of this memo it says like, I've never known a medic to be such a good shot, et cetera, et cetera. And there's some question as to whether or not I think they're like trying to bring him back to life or something. I wonder though if he is going to be a medic, because when I think about as
far as the Talon and Overwatch comparisons medic wise, I mean, you have Moira, who is basically the evil version of Mercy in a lot of ways.
Sure.
So are they trying to make an evil version of Anna with someone who's a good shot?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to go back through. So it was Ash was before.
Ash was the most recent one.
And then who was before Ash? Was that?
I think that was no. Was it Moira? No,
it wasn't. Was it Brigitte?
Yeah, I think it was Brigitte.
No, there had to be one more. Was there one at the beginning of last year? Was there? It wasn't Orisa. Anyway, I don't know. It seems like that like if this is another medic, I guess I feel like the medics in Overwatch
there's been
pretty stacked right now. You know,
yeah.
That if you want like an offensive medic, you've got Brigitte, you've got Moira, you've got even Anna to a certain degree. If you want like a more I feel like there's a lot of medics, I guess. I feel like there's a lot of different ways that people can heal people in Overwatch, and that adding in another medic with a machine gun might not be the best. Although I guess since they merged the offensive and attack classes together, it's like everybody, tanks, medics.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the last one, Ash was an offensive character. I mean, Overwatch League is back. I need to go watch Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Anyway, chances are that within the next couple of weeks, we'll be seeing on the PUBG. Oh no, it was Ash, and it was Wrecking Ball.
Oh yeah, you're right, Wrecking Ball,
and then Brigitte. So that was a medic, a tank, an offense, and now we'll probably do a medic, a tank, an offense. So Baptiste will probably end up being a medic after all.
Yeah.
So anyway, I still like playing Overwatch. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but
yeah, no, it's fun.
Still play it from time to time.
I'm also really psyched about the action figures from fucking Hasbro.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you would be. I don't have those on here.
Those things look fucking bomb.
Yeah.
Also, the Nerf guns are out, and while I don't own any of them, I've seen the friend of mine owns both the McCree revolver and the Diva handgun.
Oh, okay.
And I'm totally jealous and want them. I've seen the.
They've really got your number, John.
Man, they got Legos, which I've got all but like 2 sets of the Legos. Mm-hmm. I want all the fucking action figures. Overwatch has my number. Yeah.
Well, they also like. Here's the thing: even if you didn't like Overwatch, you have to admit good character design on Overwatch.
Yeah, totally.
So like. The sort of thing that it would be really fun to have a bunch of figures of. But we're not done with Overwatch just yet, because we also Paris is now live.
Yeah,
it was on live. The PTR before, but now it's live for everybody. I really like this map. I think it's really pretty looking. I haven't got a chance to actually go in and play it, but it looks like it's got a lot of like tight corridors.
Yeah,
like
I know there's a piano that people can have figured out how to play.
Oh, ooh, I need to go do that. It like just looking at it, it kind of reminds me of like Kings Road or El Dorado with like a lot of squeezed streets, kind of like a lot of choke points.
Yeah.
But it's real pretty. It's real pretty. And I kind of want to go check out that singing Omnic lady that's in the cafe. So, if you're into Overwatch, I mean, like, Overwatch keeps giving you reasons to be into Overwatch. So there you go. Let's see. From there, if you're not into Overwatch, maybe you're into Dota 2. And if you're into Dota 2, then you've probably heard of auto chess. Have you heard of auto chess?
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Apparently, right now, the game recently surpassed a new milestone of 300,000 concurrent players, and it's currently sitting about 4 million total subscribers on Steam. I actually looked at some gameplay of it, and it's kind of interesting because what it is it's like a little chessboard, right? And it's like you have Dota characters, and they go forward and they auto fight. And then it's like a round thing where when they win, you get like cash and you get some drops. And then you go through several rounds where you're doing just that, and they're just creeps. And then you get into a place where as it whittles people down, you start fighting with other people. And you can actually lose a game and still be first. It depends on how well you win. There's like a whole economy system tied into it. I watched a couple people playing it on YouTube, and it's interesting because it seems like it's Dota. I mean, it's definitely multiplayer, but you don't have any real input towards what the characters are doing. You're just building a lineup on a chessboard.
Oh, okay. So you're actually placing them in order that you're wanting to put them.
Like they're on a chessboard, and they only move to each individual square, and then they fight each other.
Okay.
But then it's like if you put two of the same unit together, then you can merge them into a bigger version of that unit. And if you buy a certain number, then you can merge them together, and you have like a little background. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it seems cool. It actually seems like more interesting to me than normal Dota because I'm not any good at playing Dota, and so this is a way where it's more about strategy than it is about clicking.
All right.
So and stuff. Speaking of Steam, apparently the video section of Steam is going away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so for all of you who are using Steam as your primary movie rental device, I don't know who you are, but I know there's some of you out there. Apparently, Steam put out a statement saying, like, people aren't interested in using Steam as a movie rental device, so we're going to be pulling the video thing. They're going to be trying to concentrate more on video content that is related to video games, and then having people find it through, like, if you go to a page that has you might also like this video.
So the movies aren't going away, or are they going away?
It's kind of unclear. It seems like they're kind of going away. The big thing is they're taking the actual category away.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to kind of see what is still working. It was always a weird thing to me.
It was.
I mean, like, to be honest, the first problem that I would have is that the actual gameplay videos on Steam buffer like crap for me, and they always have. Like, they've always been bad buffers, like, you know, it plays for 20 seconds and then it just stops, and I've got to wait for another minute for it to buffer. So the idea of ever watching a movie on Steam was just like, well, why would I do that? I mean, why would I do that? Like, there's so many other places that are easier and faster and better, and most of the stuff that was on Steam was like, you know, that Red Letter Media show Best of the Worst, where they like look at this bad direct-to-video stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most of the stuff on Steam
was
that. It was like, I dated a Triceratops, or like Zombie Mutant High School Sorority Panty Massacre, and it'd be just some direct-to-video garbage, kind of half a porno.
So you're telling me I need to like just go watch the zombie Triceratops, or I dated a Triceratops, whatever the fuck movie you were calling.
Yes. I actually thought for a while about Amanda and I just doing reviews of Steam movies, because they were always just like the bottom of the barrel direct to video. Like, I mean, they were the equivalent of those bottom of the barrel direct to video 80s crap movies, but now, and they still existed, and they were on Steam, but apparently not anymore. I guess you got to find out. You know, like when you ever go to Netflix and like go to like, say, like the horror section, and then scroll way down to the bottom, and there's stuff in there that you've never heard of that came out last year and has like one person whose career you thought was over, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? This is like that.
Okay.
Except that a lot more like TNA, I think, because that was what actually sold. So, I don't know. Speaking of TNA, Kingdom Hearts 3 got the top. Yeah, that's right. You heard my segue, motherfuckers. Took the top slot in January's MPD numbers. I'm
not surprised by that.
I usually don't talk about this, but I was actually surprised about this because I've been curious to know just how well this game will sell. I mean, it's been in development for a long time. Like, they've got a lot of money sunk into it. People keep telling me Kingdom Hearts is a huge-ass game.
It is.
The thing is that I just don't have very many people that I know. Like, my sample size of people that I know that play this game is very low, so I was curious to see what happened. And what happened was it took the number one slot in January. Just to round it out, number 2 was Resident Evil 2 remake. Number 3 was New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, which is a little strange to me because, number 4 is Call of Duty Black Ops 4 because,
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised by the New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that is a port of a Wii U game.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't have Wii U's, so now that they have the Switch, they're like, oh, a lot of people said good things about this game, so I'm gonna buy the Switch version because I like Mario.
Okay. Let's see. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is number 4. Smash Bros. Ultimate was number 5. Red Dead was 6. Ace Combat 7 was 7. What's going on here? NBA 2K 19 was 8. Mario Kart 8 was 9. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 was number 10. GTA 5. It amazes me. I don't read these MPD numbers out loud every month, but I do read them. And the idea that fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 was number 10 in the January 2019 NPD numbers is fucking amazing. Like, I have no idea. I mean, it's got to be the online, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's like, how could it possibly sell enough to hit number 10?
I mean, it's been in the top 10.
I know.
For the longest time, it was in the top 5.
I mean, how did it sell more to get one slot above Madden NFL 19? I mean, Tales of Vesperia is 12. Breath of the Wild is 13. Battlefield 5, 14. Mario Party 15. Minecraft 16. Yeah. So, I mean, one thing that I did notice was that in the top 10, between Super Mario Brothers U and Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, like, man, Switch is doing well,
Yeah, no, it's doing very well.
There, so, all right, let's talk about some trailers.
I'm ready for some trailers.
We got a teaser trailer for Darkest Dungeon 2.
Hey!
The Howling End. So for those of you who don't remember, Darkest Dungeon is a kind of Mike Mignola-inspired going into underground Cthulhu houses, tunnels. It's like a sanity meter.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably going to get killed at some point. You're going to lose the game, have to start over.
It's a roguelike as well.
Good art. I never was able to stick with it for very long.
I have it on my iPad. I played it for a really long time on my iPad. It was.
Did you ever beat it?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I like the style of it. I just was never all that interested in playing the crushingly difficult. Like, I don't know. Give me the Into the Breach on easy. I'm cool with that. But it looks like the major thing in this trailer is there's a giant mountain, so we're probably...
Yeah, it looks like instead of a mansion, this time we're going into the icy Appalachian Mountains.
Mountains of Madness, you said.
Mountains of Madness, yeah. It's very...
It's a big... In fact, when you look at this mountain closely, you can see that there's some weird-looking tentacly, eyeball-y stuff going on. Is it a mountain or a giant frozen Cthulhu? We'll find out soon. Let's see. Sekiro, it appears that they're just putting out some really small boss fight teasers for this game. So this one that just
I feel like they're like, look, if you're going to buy this game, you know who you are. So we're just going to give you a taste.
Yeah. This is for Lady Butterfly, who's like an old lady with some kind of like silk stuff going on.
No one ever suspects the butterfly.
That's right. I forgot that Sekiro is out in like 3.5 weeks. So good. I'm very happy. Late last week, right after we recorded, there was a trailer that dropped for Hollow Knight Silk Song, which is a full-on kind of sequel to the original Hollow Knight, where you're playing as one of the characters from Hollow Knight, this kind of ladybug with a big needle. I don't forget what her name is. It's probably Silk Song, and I'm just a moron.
Probably.
But, I didn't get that far.
Like silk.
Yeah, I didn't get that far in Hollow Knight. This looks a little bit more fun, a little bit more frenetic than Hollow Knight. Did you ever play Hollow Knight?
No.
I played a little bit
Though everyone
of it.
tells me I should.
I played a little bit of it. It's kind of slow, but I like this particular character. Seems like they've got a lot of kind of acrobatic, fast-paced kind of action moves. It reminds me an awful lot, like I was telling you before, of the Shovel Knight expansions, where Shovel Knight was kind of very generic, but then you play as Death Knight or whatever, and it's a lot more acrobatic.
All the other knights.
Yeah. But I think that the last one of those, the King Knight one, just got pushed back a little bit.
Yeah.
There is a video that came out from a band that I believe called Hyde, Hyde, which is some kind of like Japanese new metal band and they're playing music and they're showing Devil May Cry footage at the same time. It's kind of the most Devil May Cry 5 thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's kind of awesome. And, it's funny. I think that after we played that demo, I'm much more interested in actually playing Devil May Cry 5.
I tried to go back and play 4.
Oh, yeah?
Because that's the only one I never played.
How'd that work out for you?
I stopped playing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, very quickly. It was just a lot of nothing happening for a really long time.
But Nero's girlfriend got kidnapped, John. He's got a demon arm and his girlfriend got kidnapped.
Yeah.
His sword's got a motorcycle throttle on it. You got to get into it, man.
Yeah. It's just, after we played that the demo, I was really on board for the new Devil May Cry, and I'm still totally on board for it. I'm that demo was good enough that it didn't matter if the rest of the Devil May Cry franchise could suck, which we know it doesn't.
Right.
And I would still be on board for Devil May Cry 5 because of that demo. But yeah, I was just I'm not gonna play 4. I'm just gonna.
See, I think the Devil May Cry might have the reverse Star Trek curse because the Star Trek movies are the even-numbered ones are good.
Oh, yeah, it's all the even numbers. This one's all the odd numbers.
This is the odd numbers because 1 is good and 3 is good, and then maybe 5. So maybe count DMC as number 1 of a new franchise, and that was good. But I don't know, man. I don't like 4. I know a lot of people like 4. I do not like Devil May Cry 4 very much. That's just where I am. And I do, but see, the thing is that what people seem to forget when I talk about that and how I don't like Nero is that I really do like Devil May Cry 1 and 3.
Yeah.
They're fantastic games from start to finish.
Yeah.
I like them a lot. I like Dante and his dumb thing.
And 3's a prequel, right?
Yeah. 3 is young Dante. I like those games. I feel whenever we have this conversation and then whenever it comes up, I like DMC and people are just boo. It's yes, but I also like Devil May Cry 1 and Devil May Cry 3, and I think Devil May Cry 5 looks very good. I just don't like 2 or 4, and that's my prerogative, motherfucker. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, totally.
Anyway, let's see how we doing on time here. Oh, we are over time. Last but not least, we're going to talk. Apparently, there's a 15-minute anime prologue to the DLC prologue for Final Fantasy 15.
They're still doing stuff for that game?
Yeah, this is the last one, right? Because the guy, he left Square, the guy that was doing the all this stuff. Episode Arden, which is a prologue to Final Fantasy 15 about the guy in the hat in Final Fantasy 15 called Arden, and apparently they put out a 15-minute anime prequel to that prequel to the game that came out 2 years ago. Come on, Square.
They're still trying to make it a thing.
Come on, Square. Make it maybe once this is done, that should be it, right? So you guys can put out the regular edition, and I can start by playing the prologue, and then I can watch Kingsglaive, and then I can play the game, and it'll have the DLC for all the characters, and it'll have the cut content they put back into the game, and it'll be paced correctly, and it'll make sense. Maybe several years after this game came out, it'll actually be a good game. I don't know. I hope so. Anyway, March 26th, you'll be able to play that.
All right. Yeah.
If you're still into Final Fantasy 15. I mean, at least we can fucking close the door on Final Fantasy 15, right?
Until they announce something else.
I hope that it's Final Fantasy 16. I've only been waiting for fucking forever.
It's going to be Final Fantasy 15.5.
15.2?
15.2.
Noctis returns?
Yeah, Noctis returns.
Eat
more
my
Noctis.
butthole.
More Noctis.
Well, it's going to be something.
Noctis harder.
Oh, God. No. When do they put out that 13 remastered? I just want to go back and play 13.2 and 13.3.
13.2 and Lightning Returns, except you play as Noctis.
Yeah, it's 13.3, except it's Noctis this time instead of Lightning. Well, you know what? It's going to be something, because there was an earnings call just recently where the president of Square Enix, Yosuke Matsuda, basically said that they have really high third quarter projections for this year. And when asked why, he wouldn't answer. So apparently they've got something coming on the horizon that they expect is going to make them a whole shitload of money. And it's probably not Kingdom Hearts 4, and it's probably not Final Fantasy 16, so it's probably Final Fantasy 7, right?
Except they replaced Cloud with Noctis.
Except that you just found the key to the worst life that I've ever lived. It's the alternate universe that I don't want to live in, where every it's the new Metroid is out, but instead of Samus, it's Noctis. And the new Metal Gear is out, but instead of Snake, it's Noctis. I'm god damn it! Oh, it turns out that Death Stranding is going to be out next month, but instead of Norman Reedus, it's fucking Noctis. Norman Noctis is over here. Boo. Anyway, I don't know. Is there anything that this could be outside of Final Fantasy VII?
I feel like I don't know. Like I'm kind of like I don't like. I feel like they would be upfront about that because I don't think they could do E3 and be like, and it's out now. You know,
I think that they're going to do that because, well, mostly because of process of elimination, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that you're going to get a huge third quarter boost over. I mean, it's possible that maybe they have like a big DLC for Kingdom Hearts, but like 15 is done. Like the guy that ran that, he's done. And 14 has that Lightbringer expansion that's either out already or coming out very soon. So it's not either one of those. And it's not that thing that they announced
Final Fantasy 15 Noctis Royale. It's the new DLC they're doing. They're entering the battle royale. They're entering the bet everybody plays as Noctis.
Sure.
You have to be the final Noctis.
There's only one. Oh, there could be only one Noctis, and it is Noctis. No, I think it's going to be 7. I think we're probably staring down the. I mean, unless it's like a surprise launch for 16 or like a weird remake. I mean, okay. Again, they haven't put out that Final Fantasy 13 HD remaster, right? They put out the 12 remaster. They put out the 10 remaster, but they didn't put out the 13 re-release on the PlayStation. But it couldn't be that. They couldn't be expecting like high third quarter sales because of a re-release of a game that nobody but me really liked.
Yeah.
But
I hate to say it, but I'm kind of really hoping it's a Noctis Royale game. I'm really hoping it where it's all Noctis. Everybody's playing. You got to fight it's a battle royale game. Where
they had that expansion for 15 that was like the multiplayer expansion, right?
Yeah.
Where you could create a character, and then do like challenges or something. I don't even know what it was. I got what? No, I put 13. I was just trying to find out whether that Final Fantasy 13 thing ever got released. PlayStation 4, let's say Xbox 360, iOS, Android. No, it's not out on it's on Android? They put out Final Fantasy 13 on Japan,
I don't fucking know.
in Japan on cell phones?
Probably.
The fudge? All right. Anyway, and I don't think it's that Oninaki game that they announced on the Nintendo Direct stream that's coming from the Tokyo RPG Factory. However, that game is going to have the director of Chrono Trigger is going to be working on that.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty cool. I haven't really, I never really got into Lost Sphere. I am Setsuna, but I don't know. Maybe this will be the one that really captures my imagination. Let's see. Speaking of DLC, apparently Devil May Cry 5 is going to have. Currently, they have no plans for post-launch DLC for Devil May Cry 5.
Okay.
Which is kind of a weird thing to announce. I mean, you could always just. I guess you'll have a bunch of people. I guess Devil May Cry fans will be online being like, "Where's the DLC? When is it coming out? I want it immediately. I beat this game in 4 minutes. I need the DLC that comes out now." So yeah, apparently, the only plans right now are for the main game.
That's kind of refreshing, though.
Yeah,
in a way. Like, I mean, if something cool happens and they go, "Oh yeah, no, we came up with an idea and we're gonna release DLC like later." Down the line, but we didn't think about it beforehand. That's refreshing.
Yeah. I'll tell you what else is refreshing and down the line and even further down the line, and that's the Untitled Goose game that was announced a little while back, where you just play as a shitty goose that's fucking all that shit up.
It's on the loose.
Yep, the goose on the loose. Apparently that was coming out early 2019. It's been pushed back to late 2019.
Aww.
So you don't get your goose on until late 2019.
This goose has been cooked.
Yep. They put out a little video for it that just shows the coming early 2019, and the goose comes up and takes the early away, and the guy chases it. So, and last but not least, this has nothing to do with video games whatsoever, John. But I figured it might be interesting to your particular things. Apparently,
of course it is.
Toy Arc is making a Transformers Ghostbusters crossover of an Ecto one that transforms into a Transformer.
Yes.
Is it a Decepticon or is it an Autobot?
It's an Autobot.
You
know how I know?
How's that?
Because they're also doing a comic book of Transformers meets Ghostbusters crossover that also features this character.
Do the Ghostbusters have to bust Cybertronian ghosts?
The idea is that it's the ghost of Starscream.
Ah! That's so stupid. I love it.
Yeah, no, I fucking love it.
That's so dumb that I love it. So yeah, go and get yourself an Ecto one that transforms into an Autobot.
I am totally on board for this, and I want this in so many ways.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna buy one.
The only other thing that made me squee as much as this did, from Toy Fair, was the Luchador DC Justice League figures.
I have not seen that.
Oh my god! Superman as a Luchador, Batman as a Luchador, Deathstroke as a Luchador, Wonder Woman, and oh my god, just so fucking. I want all of it.
I need to look that up immediately. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna buy one of these and then just like do that scene from The Dark Knight with the pool cue, but it's just like you and Matt Frank just throw the toy down between you. Anyway. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer some questions. So everybody stick around, and we'll see you in a minute and answer some of your questions. And we're back.
Hey!
And you know what, John? We don't have like a shit ton of questions this week.
Well, we did talk about comics a lot at the beginning of the podcast.
We did talk about comics quite a bit at the beginning of the podcast. But what I was going to say is I actually beat a few games, and I think I want to... I think if you want to talk about Crackdown, you could talk about... Because you're still playing Crackdown,
Yeah,
right?
I've beaten all of the first
tier
row bosses, and I've still...
Okay.
Got to go the rest because some shit's happened, gone down in my life that I've been kind of not playing games, but I've been also playing Crackdown to ignore some of that stuff. So
nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need something to ignore life.
And I'll be honest, like Crackdown is one of the best games for that because it's literally I can play it for either a couple hours or I can play it for 30 minutes. It's literally just go in, just start blowing shit up.
Yep.
And it's fun.
Yep. So I'm going to maybe talk about Crackdown at a later date, but I do want to talk about Far Cry. Because I did play all the way to the end of Far Cry New Dawn.
Okay.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, Far Cry New Dawn is basically a sequel to Far Cry 5.
Yes.
Unlike a lot of the other things. I mean, like, some have said that Primal is a prequel to Far Cry 4, but I feel like that's only in so much as it's on the same map. It's not like the stuff that happens in Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal are connected to each other.
Yeah.
But Far Cry 5 is like 15 years after the end of... Far Cry New Dawn is Far Cry 15 years after the end of...
Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5. You've got plenty of the characters from Far Cry 5, and they're all old now, and they've got kids, and those kids are grown up, and, you know. So you, in this game, you're not the character from the first game. You are playing the role of what are they called? Like the fixer or the, troubleshooter or something like that. In any case, you're part of a group that's been rolling up the West Coast, basically rebuilding civilization. And you heard that this settlement in Hope County needs your help. And so you're taking your train up there, and in the first 5 minutes of the game, you get jacked by Mickey and Lou, who are the two black women on mopeds that you've seen with the spray-painted hockey pads, right? And they're going to take all your shit. There's only so much shit in this world. We're taking all of it. And so they take all your shit, and they leave you for dead, and then there you go. You're going to start Far Cry 5. Or Far Cry New Dawn. It is, I think, like 70% of the map. It's not the entire map, I feel like.
Okay.
But it's big chunk of the map from 5 that's been remixed where everything is kind of fucked up, and it's a very, as everybody has pointed out, it's not a very gray Fallout future. It's a very colorful future because there's just pink flowers everywhere. This game loves pink. It's a pink motherfucking game.
Between that and Rage 2.
Yeah, I know. But so there are outposts, and you'll be taking the strongholds or outposts or whatever the fuck you call them back. It's set up the same way as a normal Far Cry game where there's individual mission givers and you're going to be doing that. The main thing is that there's a series of requirements that you have to do certain missions where you've got a main base, and that main base can be upgraded. Your main base has like the base, and then it's got like an infirmary and a gun store and like an explosives place and like a cartography thing, and all those are upgraded with ethanol, and you get ethanol by essentially taking over those bases, or you can steal trucks that are driving around, or you can find packages that are dropped, or you can do yada yada yada. There's a bunch of different ways that you can get it, but you have to build up a certain amount of it in order to upgrade your base, and your base being upgraded gets you certain benefits. One of the things that I actually really like about this game is that they've separated the enemies and the challenges in the game into different difficulty tiers of like 1, 2, 3, or little king, right?
Okay.
And that those are directly related to like the guns that you get. So like level 2 guys, you kind of need level 2 guns to shoot level 2 guys, and you need level 3 guns to shoot level 3 guys. And so that's very much tied to your progression. Now, as you go on in the game, you can actually cash in your the little bases that you take over.
Yeah.
And it'll give you a certain amount of ethanol, and then it'll boost them up to a level 2 base. And then it's like everybody in there's a lot harder, and there are more reinforcements that come, and they've got better weapons. The thing that I found was that very early on in the game, I was able to break the game by essentially, they still have the prepper stashes, sort of. And you remember how Far Cry 5 has like the dumb real world money currency?
Yeah.
And how they gave you a little bit of it in Far Cry 5, but not enough? Well, so I got a little bit of it, and I bought a max tier weapon very early on in the game. I bought the Blood Dragon Cyber Bow, which was able to take down everybody except the hardest guys in the game. And then I just picked the very first outpost and just cashed it in over and over and over again. Because when it gets to level 3, it gets to the top level and you cash it in, it doesn't get any harder. It's still level 3. And there's not really much of a death tax in the game. It's like you just respawn and you got to do it again. And so I was able to just kind of grind that one outpost until I got enough to just make my whole place better.
Okay.
I think it suffers from all the things that Far Cry 5 suffers from, where, you know, I think the stealth is still really half-baked, and once you get seen, like, fucking all bets are off. I think that it still has the perk system where you get perk points, and then you put them in, and you can carry 4 weapons and do whatever. It's not tied to any, like, animal skins or anything like that, but the whole thing is that it's okay. That's like my review for Far Cry New Dawn is that it's okay. Like, the combat in Far Cry is kind of fun once you get an overpowered weapon and you can just maul the game, right? There are some really cool things like those kind of level things. There's a guy with a helicopter that'll take you to these like little challenge maps.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have to go in and pick up this thing and then exfiltrate before the guys all kill you. And you can do those multiple times and they get harder, and you get the stuff you need for better weapons from that. So all that stuff is pretty cool. The main place where it kind of falls down is in the story. And I know that I'm probably sounding like a broken record when it comes to people who like Far Cry, but like, you never find out what the fuck is up with the twins, right? Like, you never really find out very much about them. There's some weird things where it's like, oh, who are their parents, right? Because that's kind of important to their characters, and you never really find out. And it kind of sucks because they're kind of supposed to be the main bad guys in the game, and then it turns out that the real bad guy is another guy, and it's like, oh, you guys didn't learn from Far Cry 3. You're gonna kill off the really interesting antagonists, not tell me anything about them, and then just, here's some schmuck, and I hate him, and fuck him. So, like, the story, I never really cared about the story. When you were playing Far Cry, like, I feel like a lot of people can probably understand this. You know, that thing where you're just like, I'm just going to spend 5 more minutes. I'm just going to take out this one outpost. And I'm just going to, like, go get this duct tape over here. I'm just going to do this. It's kind of easy to just sink into it and just run around killing everything that you see.
Yeah.
And that's relatively fun, but, like, it's better than 5. It's shorter than 5. It's only $40. It's probably more like $20, like if you find it on a sale somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not exactly game of the year. It's not the worst thing I've ever played in the world. It's kind of blurg because I just don't care that much about the Far Cry universe.
And also, you didn't really like the story of Far Cry 5, if I remember correctly.
No, I didn't care for it at all. It feels like Ubisoft wants to make characters that are supposed to be quote unquote morally ambiguous, and the reason that they're morally ambiguous is because you've been told that they're morally ambiguous, not because they are morally ambiguous. Like, I think Joseph Seed's a fuck off bad guy, and I don't think that any part of Far Cry 5 where they're like, maybe you're the real bad guy, and I'm like, no. It's the guy that's drugging people and killing them. That's the bad guy. I'm a cop. Fuck your ambiguity. Like, you could try to do the ending and make me feel bad, but I don't feel bad for trying to save people from this fucked up religious cult guy.
Yeah.
And the same thing is kind of true in here where, I don't know, at least the twins are just, like, aggressive as fuck. It's never really clear why they're so aggressive. It seems like they could just go somewhere else if they're so badass. And there's several points in the game where they have to do that evil villain thing where they could have killed you, but they had to, like, gloat over you and then either let you go or you got a chance to escape before they could shoot you in the face.
Yeah.
But then 5 did that too, right? Where they dragged you into the bunkers just to be like, haha, I've got you. Now I'm going to program you to be a murderer. All right, now bye. Have fun killing my guys for the next 3 hours until you hit the next thing where I'm going to come down and take you into the bunker and reprogram you. You know, nobody's going to just shoot you in the head while you're unconscious because that would be too easy. So, I don't know. I probably enjoyed it more than 5 because it was faster and tighter. And I got to do something at the end of the game that I really, really wanted to do the entire time that I was playing Far Cry 5. But on the whole, I don't know. I've been kind of blurred about Ubisoft's game plots since Watch Dogs 2. Okay. Like, For Honor didn't do it for me. Far Cry 5 didn't do it for me. Like, Assassin's Creed Origin. What was the last one? Was that Origins? Or
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey didn't really do it for me. Like, I don't really dig Ubisoft stories as much anymore.
Yeah,
like I kind of liked it more when it was Watch Dogs, and it was just like, this hipster wants to take over everybody's cell phones, and you're fucking Hacker Man. Go do it, Hacker Man. And I was like, yay, Hacker Man. I mean, the fact that like the second mission in Watch Dogs 2 was you doing that thing where Martin Shkreli bought the Wu-Tang album, but you stole it back off of him and then like released it to the people, and like that was a mission in Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
Or the fact that you can play all of Watch Dogs 2 and not get in a firefight where you're just taking your drones out to go hack everything in the world.
Yeah.
I liked that. I really liked that. Whereas this, it was just like, oh, what are you saying about America? Nothing. You're saying nothing about America, especially the post-apocalypse. Like, we're all just trying to get along, and these two black chicks keep riding in on their mopeds and taking all of our ethanol.
You keep saying moped.
Or ATV. ATV, not moped. Wow, that'd be a better game.
Because I was going to be like, what are they, mods?
No, that'd be such a better game if they just drive up on like Italian mopeds, just, with their army of hipsters.
Mod squad?
Yeah. I don't know. In any case, it was fine, and nothing to write home about. I'm glad that this is hopefully the end of Far Cry 5. The next thing we'll see will maybe be like Far Cry 6, and you can give me back my radar, and we can go to somewhere else that's more interesting than Hope County or 1200 BC or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, that's it. Meh. That was my review of Far Cry. It's meh. Okay. It's meh.
All right.
How about Crackdown? You want to talk about that at all?
Talk about it.
Talk about it briefly?
Yeah.
What do you got to say about Crackdown?
I mean, I went into this game not thinking it was going to be the best AAA game ever made, because, again, it's never, I've said this in many other places, that's never been what Crackdown was.
Yeah, I mean, I played the backwards compatible Crackdown for the Discord stream, and it was like, oh, I could see why this was popular at the time.
Yeah.
But it's like Saints Row 2 level of polish, right? Like, it's doing something fun, but it's not exactly like, I don't know. I mean, like, you can see the progression from like Grand Theft Auto 3 all the way to Red Dead, and it's like, but this franchise doesn't seem like it was going in that direction. Like,
yeah. I mean, if anything, like, if I have one complaint with Crackdown 3 is that since Crackdown 1 and 2, other games have taken that Crackdown formula or taken elements of what Crackdown 1 and 2 did really well, and then improved on them,
done them way better,
and then 3 didn't. 3 just kind of, it's more Crackdown. It's kind of, and I think that's actually another thing that people have been upset about, is that if you actually look at the reason people were down on Crackdown 2 was not that it was a bad game, because Crackdown 2 is actually a totally okay game. Yeah. The problem is it's just a complete rehash of Crackdown. The city was the same city, and it was the same map as in Crackdown 1, just changed minorly, like reskinned a little bit. Like, it was the same city. Everything was kind of the same. They just added a zombie mutant creature thing into it that kind of didn't really add much to it. And this is kind of more of Crackdown 1. They even kind of, in Crackdown 3, they ignore, it seems like they ignore Crackdown 2, even though all the developers have said, no, Crackdown 2 happened. We just don't talk about it in the game.
Okay.
But Crackdown 2 totally happened. But also it seems like they kind of retconned the ending of Crackdown 1, at least of what I've played so far.
Okay.
Because, spoiler for Crackdown 1, you're the bad guy.
That was Crackdown 2, not Crackdown 1.
No, that was Crackdown 1.
Oh, okay.
Crackdown 1, you are, like, it ends with going, guess what? all those bad guys that you just took down, we funded them. We wanted them to make the city so bad that the people would have to turn to us, and now we're in charge. Like, that was kind of how it ended.
Okay.
The first game ended. And then the second one was they got turned on by someone on the inside and everything went to shit, and now they're just now getting back up to stuff, and now you have to go fix the shit that went bad, and then we're back in charge again because we're really the bad guys.
Okay.
But Crackdown 3 kind of seems like it's no. We weren't the bad guys. The bad guys were really the people from Crackdown 3 because they were funding all the villains, which that's in Crackdown 1 it says that. And again, the ending of I haven't got to the ending of Crackdown 3, so it totally could just go back to the whole thing. It's like, yeah, we're actually behind these people being bad too. Ha ha ha.
As somebody who's finished it, I won't say one way or the other.
Yeah, and I understand, and that's fine if you don't. But I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that because the fun thing about Crackdown is you go in, like the marketing. I feel like the marketing for the game since it came out, the step up your boom thing with Terry Crews and like, oh, you step up your boom, go blow stuff up. It's fucking Crackdown. Jump in, jump really far, crash down, and explode everything you can.
Sure.
That's the best part of Crackdown.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what Crackdown is, and it excels at doing that.
Yep.
Doesn't make it the best game ever.
No.
But it does. But what it does really well.
I was talking with you beforehand, and I forgot about this until we were talking about it, but I think that game was really designed with the ability to blow up the city in mind. And I think that by losing that, like and when I say that, I think that what that means is that the game map and the graphics and everything are sort of simplistic. And then I think that part of the reason that it is simplistic is because you were supposed to be able to blow up buildings.
Yes.
And they're supposed to be able to crumble down and look really cool. And that's not a thing in the single player. I think there's like some kind of multiplayer mode where you can do it.
There is a multiplayer mode that is a much smaller area.
Right.
It's not like the size of the city. It's like an area. But the problem with that is that the walls tear apart like cardboard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's no weight to them. Like, just like you could walk up at level 1 base character, punch a wall, and you punch right through it.
Yeah.
And if you walk up to it with a fully leveled character and punch a hole in a wall, it punches the same hole. Like, there's no... Like, it's like tearing cardboard.
Okay.
And that's been kind of the complaint that a lot of people have had with that multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
Is that... Yeah, it's cool that you can destroy the tiny map that you're in.
Right.
But it has no weight to it.
See, what was interesting is that, like in the later parts of the game, especially once you start getting up to the like mid-tier bosses, you have to go up these huge skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And I can honestly see how it would be interesting if you're trying to both blow up some shit and also keep the skyscraper you're on top of from falling over at the same time. Would be really interesting. So it's kind of a shame, but I've had a lot of fun with it just because, I mean, like, if you're not, you would never stop and look at anything in Crackdown because every challenge takes about 10 minutes and then you're on to the next thing. And hey, here's a new gun. And, oh shit, my punch is leveled up. Oh, look, I can jump higher now.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a race. Oh, I got a car. Ooh, that car turns into a car that can jump. Ooh, that car turns into a tank. Ooh, that tank turns, I mean, like.
And that car that can jump can actually drive up the side of a wall of a fucking building.
Yep. And like, oh shit, here's the thing. Like, they're so cognizant about not wasting your time in that game that when you're doing these big puzzles where you're trying to jump up to the top, which the jumping platforming is probably the weakest part of that game.
I will say there's these towers that you have to jump up, like, and they're platforms.
Yeah.
And you take over and they're like propaganda platforms.
Yes.
I think it's what they're referred to as. I hate those. Like, I literally, like, at first I was like, oh, no, these aren't too bad. But then once you start getting to the harder ones, like, it starts getting to the point of, no, fuck this.
Well, what I was going to say was at least those have checkpoints.
They do.
If you fall off, you just hold the D-pad up and then boom, you're right back up there. So, like, at least they were cognizant enough not to be like, you got to start over at the bottom.
And even with some of the buildings, they're like that. Like, if you're jumping up a building, if there's like a mission at the top of a really high tall skyscraper, they even turn on those checkpoints about halfway up the skyscraper so that if you do fall down, you just hit the button and it recognizes that you're trying to get to that mission.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if you get here, if you fall off, you're good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
which I actually really like. Like there's some good things about it. I think this is a lot of, I've seen it compared in a lot of reviews, and I've even seen you've talked about it as well, and I feel like so many people are reiterating it because it's so true. This is a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
This is you're bored and you want some stupid movie that you don't really care what it's about. It doesn't have to be good story-wise, just as long as a bunch of shit is happening on screen that is at least interesting.
Yep.
And you turn on Netflix and you go to the Netflix original and you go, oh, hey, here's that movie starring what's his name from I can't even think of his name all of a sudden. The guy that's in Death Stranding that was also Hannibal
Mads
Lecter.
Mikkelsen, Polar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, here's Polar. Let's watch this. Oh, shit, crazy stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Is it the best movie ever made? No. But you kind of had fun watching it, and it was there.
Commando is not a cinematic tour de force, but I'll still sit there and watch Arnold Schwarzenegger cut somebody's arm off with a spade because, it's Commando.
Yeah. So, it's Megaforce. It's, these are just stupid. And you know what? If that's what this is for video games, I'm okay with that.
I'm cool with it.
Because I'm having fun playing it, and that's all I really want out of a video game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need every game to be the 60-hour drama epic that is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
I don't need every game to be that. I don't need every game to just be this long, heavy story character study of video games. Sometimes I just want to turn a game on and I want to blow shit up.
And you know what? I think it's interesting to compare that with Far Cry New Dawn, because Far Cry New Dawn is so heavy with you're trying to save civilization. And here, Terry Crews comes out the first 5 minutes and I'm fucking codename Daddy Duck. Let's get out there and blow some shit up. And you go out there to blow some shit up. And I like the fact that they have this guy on your comms who's like your commander, and he's got this really kind of cheesy commander voice. And throughout the game, he'll just pipe up and just be like, wow, that was awesome. Like, hey, good jump. Like, you're putting those acrobatics to work, huh? Like, he's just saying, good job, you, the entire game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I did do a good job. Now I'm going to blow some more shit up. And he's like, go blow some shit up,
and
agent.
I'll be honest, while we did say the jumping is the weakest stuff, collecting those agility orbs, still fucking addicting as hell. I mean that was addicting in Saints Row 4.
Yeah.
Saints Row 4. If you want to talk about one negative, is that Saints Row 4 did the Crackdown formula so well.
It's a better game than Crackdown.
But it hurts Crackdown 3 a little bit because of it did Crackdown so well that it's kind of disappointing that they couldn't be Crackdown on that level. But just like collecting those orbs was really fucking addictive in that game, they're still addictive in this game too. And it's just like, oh my god. And I love the fact that, as you level up by doing things.
Yep.
Like you want to level up your driving skills, drive.
Yeah.
Drive.
Just drive a little bit and you'll do it. Yep.
Yeah. Go jump through do some races, do some stunt markers. Mm-hmm. Just do a fucking donut and it gives you points for doing a donut.
Yep.
You want to level up your character's strength? Punch everything.
Yep.
You want to make your explosions have a bigger boom? Fucking blow shit up. Mm-hmm. You want your guns to be able to focus more and be more powerful and to carry more ammo? Shoot your guns at things.
Yep.
You want to jump faster and run faster? Go collect those agility orbs. Go run and jump around. It's a really refreshing take on an upgrade system that I don't see.
I think it's
implemented in a lot of other games.
I think it's a perfect curve.
Yeah.
Because they start you at one side of this circle around the center of the map, which is where the final boss is. And like Breath of the Wild, if you want to go fight the final boss first thing, you could do that if you want to. It'll be hard as shit, but you can do it. But as you move around these sectors, in a clockwise way from fucking 7 o'clock all the way back around to 7 o'clock, it's like you're going to do all that, and by the time you get to the other side, you're going to be ready to fight all the mini bosses, and by the time you get done with them, you're going to be ready to go fight the final boss. It's like you don't got to zip, zap, zoop back and forth across the map. It's like by the time you just walk from one side of the map to the other, you're going to be powerful. You're going to have a shitload of guns. You're going to have leveled up a whole bunch of times. You'll be ready to go. What I like about this game is the fact that I don't have to grind. I don't have to backtrack. and the stories are all in like audio logs that you just pick up and they're playing in the background, or the characters are just talking over the radio.
Yeah.
There's a few motion comics cutscenes for each one of the bosses, and then you just go and blow them up and look, you're done. And that's just it.
I feel like the game excels in its simplicity.
Yes.
That's really the thing. Now, is this game worth $60? I would agree with you've said off mic, if I'm not mistaken, that you do not
as well.
you don't think it's worth $60, and I agree with you on that. After playing it, I think it's a great game. I think it probably should have been budgeted a little bit better, but I think part of the reason they didn't budget it lower is because they want this. They want this game to sell the Game Pass.
Right.
They know people are already disillusioned with this game before it came out, and I think they're very smart in that they put out a couple sales for Game Pass around the time that this came out. They want this game to be a driver for people to sign up for the Game Pass.
Yeah.
And if you sign up, and you know what, I feel like if you did the deal where you get your first month for $1 or first 2 months for $1 or whatever it is, you know what? It's worth it.
Yeah.
Just for Crackdown alone. And you can always, and with those things, with the Game Pass, you don't have to keep it past that first month. You can get it for the $1 or $9.95 or whatever, play Crackdown, and maybe play a couple of other games you wanted to play, and then cancel the membership, and then once something else interesting comes out, maybe start up the service again. You're totally welcome to do that. There's no like contracts or anything. And you know what? I feel like that makes the service worth it. And I feel like that's what Microsoft wanted.
For me, what it comes down to is that I have to keep evaluating Crackdown as a $10 video game.
Yeah.
Because that's technically what it is. Like, I don't know if you could. Yeah, I don't. Actually, you need Game Pass on the PC, right?
I think.
Does it work for PC? Because you can play it on the PC as well. I just played on the Xbox One. But like, the thing is that. Like, as a $10 game that's about 10 hours long, and yeah, there's more to it, but like, well, fucking, like, you don't really need to do any of that shit. It was fine. It was fine. It was fun. It was 2 nights worth of sitting here, drinking a beer, blowing shit up, and I was perfectly happy with what I got out of that.
Yeah.
So that's what I was happy with. Anyway, let's do some questions.
I'm down for questions.
Mail@racelight.com's email address. Our first question comes in from Ben. Ben says, hey, Jeff and John.
Hey.
Recent fan of the show. Think I started watching regularly once. Okay, we got to stop on this one for a second. Recent fan of the show. Think I started watching regularly once Puppet Jeff took over from the old host. So, just FYI, I've been the host the whole time.
Puppet Jeff has been the host the whole time.
Puppet Jeff is Jeff. I'm Jeff, and that's Puppet Jeff. And we're the same Jeff, and we're all Jeffs. And since Fuse, it's been Jeff. I mean, I guess, Jason used to be over here all the live
Yeah, there was
days,
also Puppet Jason.
So my big question is this. Are there some things about games that you love that drive you up the wall with anger and you can never just breeze past despite how much you love the game? For example, I love Kingdom Hearts, but the story is incomprehensible gobbledygook. The game keeps insisting that you pay attention to. Or for a game that I know Jeff likes, I love Injustice, but the way that the game treats Wonder Woman feels outright offensive and feels like a larger symptom of a game story built around, quote, we wanted this to happen, unquote, instead of, quote, it makes sense for this to happen, unquote. Curious what some of yours are, if you have any. Also, if either of you are Dragon Ball Z nerds, are on the show. What is it about the show that appeals to you all these years later? I grew up with it in the 90s, and I still don't understand the appeal. Love your show, and that's from Ben. Okay. Do you watch Dragon Ball?
I did a long time ago. I haven't watched any of Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
So I like Dragon Ball because, and I look at it like this. I thought Dragon Ball was a good gateway to anime.
Mm-hmm. Like other shonen stuff?
Yeah, like not even just other shonen stuff, but just other anime in general.
Yeah.
Because it was really due to the popularity of Dragon Ball that Cartoon Network started airing other Japanese animation.
Okay.
That's the reason, they got, a Bleach and Naruto and...
I think my old roommate used to watch Inuyasha.
Inuyasha, yeah. Now, I mean, I was already into anime by the time Dragon Ball was a thing, but I really liked it because for the same, kind of for the same reason I like wrestling and like comic books. It's, colorful characters battling it out, having fights, and
I guess over a really long-term storyline, right?
Yeah, it was a really long-form story. So I mean, it hits all the right buttons for me. It's a power fantasy.
Yeah.
But I haven't really gone back to it because once I kind of got past that and gatewayed into other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Trigun and Cowboy Bebop and all those other shows that were popular back in the day. And even like Outlaw Star and whatever else, even One Punch Man now and all the different mobs, Psycho Mob 100 and Megalobox and all those other things. So it was kind of, and that's how I look at it. I look at it that if people look at it now and go, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I understand it. I understand that you don't get it. I also feel like you have to kind of be at that right age where that's a thing that's in it, like that power fantasy of watching these badass fight scenes, these just super long fight scenes of people doing these like just fights.
Yeah.
There's an age where you watch that and that's interesting. And I feel like it's not for everybody, and it's not 100%. Like, yeah, there's going to be more adult people who watch Dragon Ball and still find it interesting. But I feel like if you caught it at the right age, where it was your thing, it's always going to be your thing.
I kind of feel it's similar to any really long running thing. Like I know a lot of people who I was talking with somebody a little while back who was like, I don't think I'll ever watch Doctor Who because I don't want to watch like 7 seasons of Doctor Who to get caught up as well as the stuff before that. Or like people who would look at like Star Trek and be like, oh, that's a daunting, you got like 7, 8 seasons of TNG and then like, 6 seasons of Deep Space Nine and 4 seasons or 6 seasons of Voyager, like you look at, or like comic books, right? Like if you wanted to like, I feel like there's a reason comic books keep rebooting is because there was a time where, like, if you really wanted to kind of be into Spider-Man, it's like you needed to go read a lot of Spider-Man comics in order to kind of be into Spider-Man.
I feel like that's a general misconception with both these TV shows and comics.
Sure.
Is that a lot of people think, oh, well, this is Spider-Man number 463. Well, that means I have to read 462 comics before I can read this one.
Right.
And not necessarily.
Yeah.
You might have to read like 2 or 3 issues before that one, depending on where it is in the story. But, typically when they start a story arc, they the writers tend to try to make it new entry friendly, and I feel like for stuff like that, Dragon Ball, you probably you can't just jump in anywhere, but I feel like Doctor Who's another one of those where as long as you start with with whoever the new Doctor is, you don't have to go back. Generally.
There's entry points in a lot of places.
But I mean, as far as like, I think Dragon Ball works as an entry level gateway for anime for anybody because it's very easy to understand. It's clear who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. It's got really colorful characters. It's got wackadoo characters. It's got serious characters. It's got awesome animation. At times there are fight scenes that are just so good. And then you watch that and you're like, man, this is really good. Oh, man, I wonder if there's any other really good. And then someone goes, oh, you should check out One Punch Man. Or, oh, you should check out Cowboy Bebop.
Right.
Or, oh, you should check out Trigun. Or all these other, animes that I'm not naming because only the obvious ones are popping in my head right now.
Yeah.
But literally you go, oh, if you like, go watch Bleach or go watch Naruto or, whatever. And then you get to better stuff. Like you start going deeper and deeper into better stuff. And then, you look back and you're like, oh, that's, some people are like, nah, but Dragon Ball's my thing. Like I'm still into it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's totally cool. But I feel like for most people, it's that gateway drug.
Okay. I can see that.
And I think it works really well because, again, it's simple. It's colors. It's got, awesome fight scenes. And animation is really good, and it's clear, good, evil, and sometimes the evil guys become the good guys. It's all done in a very long form, but totally, if you watch all of it, you can see how this guy who started off as a villain suddenly became one of the most likable characters in the franchise.
Okay,
kind of thing, and so it's. I don't know if I could. I'm sure Michael Riojas could probably explain it way better than I could.
Probably so.
Because while I like the show, he loves the show. But
that's true. Well, let's see. Well, question here was things about some games, games that you love, but they got things that drive you up the wall, and you can never really breeze past, despite how much you really love the game. I was actually thinking that. I think I know something from you that you've told me about before. We've referenced many times in the past. That was about Grand Theft Auto 5 where you just straight up stop playing Grand Theft Auto 5 because Trevor's a piece of shit and you don't want to torture people.
I don't like playing characters that are unlikable. Like there is a level of there has to be something to the character that's likable.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of people like, well, Trevor has his code about women. No, fuck you. That's not something to be likable about. I mean, it is likable, but it's like that's not. It has to be more than just a code. There has to be a charisma to the character, which Trevor does not have. There has to be, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't just like this character's going to be a shithole for just to be a shithole. Like it's kind of the reason I don't like Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I don't find any of those characters likable or even redeemable on any level.
It also has to do with tone. I mean, like, because you can make the argument that like, none of the Third Street Saints are good people.
Yeah.
But that world is ridiculous. So
no, you're right. And
you know, that's like it's not press X to pull some guy's teeth out. It's like you fly through the air and punch an alien in the face because I'm the president of the United States. Look at my dick.
Yeah, it's like press X to smack a guy in the face with a purple dildo bat. You know, it's
hard to take seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the thing. It's like in a serious game, because Grand Theft Auto 5 does have a serious tone. Well, it's not totally serious.
That's weird.
It has a weird tonal thing where when you go to satire to that degree of what Trevor is.
Yeah.
And I get it. He's supposed to be the id of every player who ever plays Grand Theft Auto. I have no interest in seeing a character on my screen to watching that. Like
I can see that.
I see that. And the fact that I have to play that character and I have to play as that character. Because here's the thing with Saints Row, I'm playing this psychopath essentially, and they tell you as much in the game. He's a fucking psychopath.
Yep.
But I'm playing him the way I want to play him.
Right.
Like I'm not torturing people because I think it's fun. Or because the character thinks it's fun. I'm just running in and beating them with a dildo bat because I think it's funny.
Right.
Trevor is not that. Like Trevor is we're gonna randomly have him kill characters that you may or may not liked in previous games because we thought it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's not quite as affecting to me, but I could totally understand. Like it 100% makes sense. I was actually thinking, I don't know if this is something, but I've had a really difficult time recently, and we talked about this a little bit with Far Cry, like getting emotionally invested in the storylines of some video games. Like, especially at the beginning of this year, like, especially, okay, listen, I'm not trying to bring this up as a thing, but like, Kingdom Hearts doesn't give me a lot of things to grab onto.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't give me a lot of anchor points. For all it's worth, Resident Evil is a complicated, fucked up weirdo series. But like Resident Evil 2 is, I'm Leon. I'm trying to escape from Raccoon City that is overrun with zombies. Like that is a very easy to understand thing, right? Like it's very easy to understand what Leon's trying to do. And so it's very easy to identify with Leon. So it's very easy to emotionally connect with Leon. Like in Far Cry, your character is a cipher. And so you could honestly say like, well, my motivation is I want to kill the bad guys. But the bad guys are so poorly fleshed out that you're like, I don't really understand why they're doing this. So it's more just kind of an exercise in like, I guess I'll just set all your guys on fire, I suppose. Like, I don't really understand what's going on here, but the game says go kill these guys, so I guess I'll do it. And so, I just don't end up with as much. Amanda and I played Metro, and we haven't put the dojos up for it at the time that you and I are recording this, but like, Metro did a really, really good job because it's like, RTM wants to find survivors of the apocalypse, and then like, oh shit, we found these other people, and then like, oh, they have a train, and oh, we've been betrayed and there are other people, and oh, now we're going to go on a mission to go find those other people. It's like the game kept every 5 minutes giving me like a new objective that got me really emotionally drawn in. And I guess there's just been a lot of games that have come out recently over the last couple of years where it's just like, I just can't get into this because your story is written in such an obtuse way that it's hard for me to latch on to any character. And if it's hard for me to latch on to a character and I don't care, then it's hard for me to care. It's hard for me to care about what's happening in your video game, you know? Like the games that I liked so much last year, God of War, Red Dead, Spider-Man, so easy to attach to those characters. Even Arthur Morgan, who I think is a very complicated character.
I will say, when I first started playing Red Dead, I didn't know if I liked his character.
Yeah.
And then I kind of was worried it was going to be a Trevor moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like for a good solid minute. Like I was like, no, I'm going to keep going. I don't know if I like this character. But then the more he started to talk, the more I'm like, oh, okay, it's a complicated character. He's not completely unredeemable. He's got, there are things about him that are totally relatable, and he does have an aspect to him that does seem like there is a level of redemption,
right,
from the title, that could be had by this character.
Yes.
And by the very end of it, I generally love that character.
Yeah, me too. So that's one of those things where, I mean, I feel like no matter how good a game is, like Celeste is actually a good example of, I just couldn't really get emotionally invested in the story of Celeste. And so as many people liked that story and liked the game, it didn't land for me. Like I just didn't care as much about that character, which means that it's harder for me to get super into it. I don't know. That's a problem that I feel like I've been having more and more recently, and that I've been willing to cut games less and less slack over. Like I haven't enjoyed the last at least two Assassin's Creed games, and like that used to be a franchise that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And to put it in perspective, I actually did kind of enjoy what was the one with the brother and sister, the steampunk Syndicate, because I actually kind of liked the brother and sister.
I liked the characters, yeah.
But then before that, it was fuckface in France. What was his name?
I didn't play that one.
Unity.
Yeah.
And I didn't care about that guy. I was just like, I don't care about you. But see, then I didn't care about the guy in Origins. I didn't care about the character in Odyssey, and so I just didn't really care. And not caring meant that I didn't really, I mean, I'm not trying to pick on Ubisoft, but for some reason it's just clicking through my brain. But like Watch Dogs, right? The original Watch Dogs, I didn't care about that guy.
Cell phone Batman
and his fucking cousin got killed or something like that.
Yeah.
And I gotta take down the mob because my cousin got killed, and I'm just like, what? Who? Why wasn't it his kid? Why wasn't it his kid that got killed? Like that would have made for a better story, but I don't know. Like I don't know. There's a lot of games out there that I'm starting to get to a point where, and the thing is that it doesn't have to be every single game, because like I'm not exactly so wrapped up in 47's backstory that like that's the reason that I want to play it.
We would I was actually about to bring up the fact that we're talking about being emotionally invested in characters, and yet we just spent how long talking about Crackdown 3,
right?
And literally the emotional investment of that character is it's Terry Crews. Which, not to go back to that, why would you play as any other character other than Terry Crews in that game?
I found out is that once you get up to the 5th level and you're trying to earn like shooting XP, like having the extra 10% from somebody with shooting XP means you don't have to spend like a year shooting to level up. But
okay.
But yes, I take your point. But yeah, Crackdown. But see, Crackdown again had that visceral, just like I'm blowing shit up, and there wasn't any time. I didn't need that.
And the story's so paper thin anyway.
It wasn't about but then the other thing was that the cartoon bad guys in Crackdown, I hated them enough that I didn't have to be connected to my character.
Yeah.
Right? It was like a bunch of G.I. Joe villains that I needed to shoot in the face because they're like, ha 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 ha! I'm poisoning everyone with my poison. Come get me, Crackdown agent. I'm like, I'm gonna. I got my rocket launcher and my bazooka and my laser machine gun, and I'm coming.
I got my black hole gun.
Yep. I'm gonna come over there. I'm
black
gonna
hole gun.
Shoot
Won't you come?
With all of the things that I've got. I'm gonna drive my car right up your mech and then make it explode, and you're gonna be sorry that you ever saw the likes of me. So anyway, that's something that I've recently been having some difficulty with.
Okay.
So also Puppet Jeff is Jeff. Just Jeff is Puppet Jeff, and Jeff is. We're all the same Jeff. It's not like Into the Spider-Verse. There's only one backstory, and it's just Jeff. And sometimes there's a puppet on him. Nathan writes in and says, hey, Jeff and John. Recently, I started delving into the murky depths of text-based games with the lower production costs of writing an interactive novel compared to games freeing up up for some brilliant, divergent storytelling where the player choice can significantly impact the story in more ways than just a BioWare or David Cage game. So my question is this: what is your experience, if any, with text-based / choose-your-own-adventure games or books? And are there any books, movies, or video games that you think could benefit from being spun off into a text-based game? Keep those rages selecting. And that's from Nathan. And Nathan says, P.S. If you're looking for a text-based place to start, I recommend Tin Star or Choice of Robots by, quote, Choice of Games, unquote. Text-based games, what do you think?
I mean, they're cool. I haven't really played one in a long time.
I think I've looked at a few of them. I mean, the closest that we tend to get is with visual novels, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I could say I liked a choose your own adventure book back in the day. I tell you what, though, it's better than a choose your own adventure book. What was that franchise? It's like Lone Wolf. Was that it? Where it was like an RPG that you played by yourself, where there was like it was choose your own adventure, but then you would get into like combat, and they had a literal character sheet in the back of the book. And like there was a whole system where it's like there was a grid of numbers, and you would close your eyes and put your pencil down on it, and that would be like your damage to hit or whatever. And you would add in. It's a little D&D game that you could play by yourself in a choose your own adventure book. Huh. I think they were called Lone Wolf. I think that was the name of those books. Yeah, honestly, I mean, like when I just read novels. The closest I've gotten is visual novels, and for the most part. Maybe I should be doing text adventures because visual novels, I feel like the visual part doesn't add that much to it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And there have been a few that I really enjoyed, like Monster Prom, but that's more of like a dating sim. Yeah. I don't know. I guess if I'm going to read, I want to do it in a book and not on a screen.
Yeah.
I do know that when I was a kid, I used to play text adventures with my dad because it was back in the 80s, and that was like a lot of video games were just text adventures.
Yeah. I mean, the last text adventure I'm thinking I played was the one that was but the one that was the thing that started the people who made West of Loathing or whatever the fuck it was called.
Oh, Kingdom of Loathing?
Yeah, Kingdom of Loathing.
Oh, okay.
Like that's probably the last text-based adventure thing that I ever did.
I think technically
and the first version of that is what I'm referring to as, which was a pure text-based adventure.
Stories Untold started with a text adventure, basically,
no, it did. Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. I just don't think I've played that many of them. Most of the time, mostly because what I play, I guess I've got like reading is disconnected from gaming in a lot of ways to me, where when a game does have a lot of reading to it, I'll start to skim it a little bit just because I'm used to doing that stuff. As far as like things, books, movies, or video games that you think could benefit from being spun off into like a text-based game, I do think that what was the David Cage game from last year? Detroit was one of the better kind of choose your own adventure games that I've played. That could do well. Does Bandersnatch count? I don't think we ever talked about Bandersnatch on this show. Did you watch Bandersnatch?
I did not, but I know what it is. So.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. It became very clear where the walls were. That's one of my problems, I guess, with a lot of those choice-based video games is that you run up against like, oh, here's the edge. Like I can't actually do whatever I want to because here's the edge of the thing. I don't know. Mass Effect? Maybe instead of BioWare making other games, they could just make a Mass Effect text adventure. What'd be really cool is if you could make a text adventure where the game it read. You just have somebody like don't make graphics maybe, but have somebody like the Bastion narrator or the Stanley Parable guy like read all the text out loud to you so that you're not just sitting there reading text on the screen. I don't know. There's something that's just like not super interactive about that kind of, I don't know, tamps down my excitement a lot.
I know that not totally the same thing. I know the choose your own adventure people, the people who actually own the rights to choose your own adventure. They actually made a tabletop game a little while back.
Do they?
Yeah, it's just called Choose Your Own Adventure, and I think it has like a couple of modules in it that you can.
Have you seen? There was an old Choose Your Own Adventure book that is. that on the front has like this kid, and he's like karate kicking a bunch of ninjas that are around him, and it's got like Japan behind him. It's like a white kid just doing a jump kick, and there's all these like black clad ninjas around him behind. And then somebody has photoshopped that so that the title of the book is like 15 beers at Chili's or something like that is the name of it. It's pretty good. Yeah. Let's take some quick Discord questions here real fast. Let's see. Marmol asks, what is Albert Schnitzel going to do when Jack Marsden becomes a man? Does he get a bar mitzvah? That's my response. Slots writes, hello, folks. Slightly heavy question for you. Been watching Star Trek episodes recently, and it made me wonder, do you think that the Gene Roddenberry ideal of the future as shown in Star Trek is likely to happen, or do you think not? What things about this ideal do you like and not like?
I'd like to hope that it could happen.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it can.
Well, don't forget that we have to go to the timeline.
No. If you actually look at the lore, there's actually like a really dark period in the Earth lore that then leads to the Federation.
It's where they have the little people, and like the guards have the little cocaine things from when Q comes out at the beginning of Farpoint. It's like that's the part, right? Where they just kill people if they fuck up. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm less pessimistic sometimes than other people, which may seem weird, about like the state of the world. Like I think we're in a period of real chaos, and I think a lot of it is because of the motherfucking internet. Like we ain't never seen nothing like an internet before, and like I think that we're still trying to figure out how does life work with this amount of like information
overload.
Yeah, overload, transparency, control. I mean, social media is not a thing that we've ever had in the history of all mankind. I think a lot of people have started to realize that social media can be really destructive to people, and that we're about to see what will happen when people that were raised with social media become adults, and like how does that affect their development being connected. Lots of bad stuff going on, lots of good stuff going on too. A lot of times we don't see the two in equal amounts. Also, I have this theory that we don't, you'll see a news story where it's like, there's a new study of 10,000 people, and it found that like 60% of them were all fucked up. And it's like, yeah, but they don't like run news stories about a bunch of people who are just living their lives and having a good time. And like, they're like, hey, I watched that Netflix show and it was good. Like they don't write news stories about like, I really liked Umbrella Academy. Like nobody's going to run on your local news a story about like local man likes Netflix show. It sounds like an Onion article, right?
Yeah.
But like you don't ever hear about that. Like you've got all this information about like, the latest thing that's bad or horrible or fucked up. But nobody writes news stories about like, you're doing all right. You're doing pretty good. I don't know. I mean, like you can even look at Star Trek of saying that Gene would have never let them do some of the stuff they did on Deep Space Nine because he didn't believe that they would have this kind of like wars, right, in that his future. So my favorite episode of DS9 and maybe the whole show in the Pale Moonlight is kind of a refutation almost of some of the idealism of the Federation and stuff like that. That's why I think DS9 is a great show, is because it shows the idealism of the Federation rubbing directly up against all these other cultures on a daily basis. Like, it's one thing for the Federation and the Klingons to meet and see how those two cultures work together. It's another thing when you run a space station where there's a bunch of Klingons hanging out at the bar every day, and you've got to decide, like, well, do I arrest them because they like to get drunk and headbutt each other? Or do I, like, leave them alone because that's
just
part
what
of their
they do?
culture is they get drunk and headbutt each other? And, like, then what happens when the Romulans come and they're just like, we want to drink our ale and we're going to talk shit about the Klingons because we're Romulans and that's what we do. But now the Klingons want to headbutt the Romulans and I got to be in charge of all this garbage. And I'm just trying to be old Gene Roddenberry's ideal of a peaceful universe. But now I got Klingons trying to headbutt Romulans, and, like, do I arrest them? And what do I charge them with? And, like, the shapeshifter guy that runs my prison is actually one of the enemy. I don't know. It's just a big mess. So, I don't know. Go watch DS9. Maybe. But remember, we got to go through the cocaine eugenics wars before we can come out the other side into the wonderful Star Trek future.
Well, we're heading there.
Yep. Let's see. I'm not entirely sure what this question means. Do you watch Yu-Gi-Oh?
No.
Septum Sin, I'm sorry, but none of us know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, I say, okay. Dear Rage-like players, I enjoyed the Patreon of Jump Force, and remember, Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually was very different from the strange card game it became in Volume 1 of the manga, as it was about playing different games with dire consequences and quite dark. Have you ever started a series that suddenly turned on its heel and made you ask yourself why you thought it was good in the first place? Your Patreon Septum Sin. So something where you started watching it and then you were suddenly just like, what the fuck am I even watching anymore?
Attack on Titan?
Attack on Titan?
Yeah, fuck that show.
Really?
Yeah.
When? Third season?
5 episodes in.
Oh, okay. Why? What happened?
I don't like the show. It's
Okay.
not entertaining. Also, there's some stuff that I'm not even going to go into.
Okay. Let's see.
But yeah, like shows that I kind of just like, why the fuck am I even still watching this?
Goblin
was-
Slayer? The end of the first episode, I was just like,
Well, I will say, so there's a show called Blue Gender.
okay.
I don't hate the show,
Yeah.
but I question, like, it was coming out at a time when the only way you could buy anime on DVD was really to go to the mall and go to the Suncoast in the mall and
Sure.
just pay like $40 for a DVD for one single DVD that had like 3
2
episodes
yeah,
on it.
Yeah.
The dark days of anime, as we like to call it. And I would go and I bought an entire series of a series called Blue Gender. I think it had like a sequel series that was actually much better.
Okay.
From what I've heard, but that first season, it's okay. Like it's one of those like nothing really bad or good happens in it. It's just kind of happens.
Okay.
And by the end of it, I'm like a friend's like, "Oh man, so you must really like the show. You bought all the DVDs." And I'm like, "No." Why'd you buy all of it? Oh.
It's because we didn't have a way to know.
Yeah.
Nobody was reviewing anything.
And by the time I was like, well, it's not bad. I'll buy the next one. Buy the next one. Well, it's still not bad. I'll buy the next one. Well, I've already bought 3 of them. I might as well buy the rest.
Yeah.
As they're coming out.
Oh, you know what? In that same time period, Gazaraki was like that
Yeah.
for me, where I was watching it, then suddenly I was like, why am I watching this? I don't like it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't even and for Blue Gender, it wasn't even a thing of I don't like it anymore. I'm just like, well, that was okay.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't. If I had known, like I don't know if I ever care to watch the show again, and I don't know if I ever care to. I don't know.
Okay.
Like it's just like just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know why I'm watching this. I don't hate it, but I don't know why I'm watching this.
Yeah. Let's see. Ratchet Sly says, which do you prefer to dry your hands with in a public restroom, paper towels or blow dry machine?
I prefer paper towels.
Paper towels all the way. Get that fucking blow dry shit out of here. It ain't worked. I know you got your Dyson Air blades, and those are a little bit better, but like, still, nah, bro. I mean, somebody didn't wash their hands with soap, and then they put them in there, and it's just flinging water with poop particles all over the place. I don't want to have to use the same thing. I want paper towels.
Yeah.
The only thing worse than an air dryer is that weird cloth that goes in a circle where you're like literally drying your hands on this weird
the same thing that
squeegee-
someone else's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like it. I feel like they've been trying to make that blow dryer shit work my entire life.
Yeah.
And it's never worked. Also, you know what you can also do?
Because you're not really drying your hands. You're just pushing the water around until it falls off your hands.
Yeah. I mean, again, that Dyson Airblade, if you got to put one in there, that's better than just the hot air one.
Yeah.
And also, I'll tell you what, you can also take those motion sensor dispense one paper towel at a time bullshit and take that shit out of there as well. Oh, you know what else you could take out? Is that canister where you have to pull it out and it's all scrunched up and then you have to like unfurl the paper towel. All those can go to hell. Just paper towels. Paper towels.
Okay.
All right, let's do a couple more here and then we will be done. Oscar writes in and says, hey, Jeff and John, sorry for the long email. So my house is mostly an Xbox household, but we love video games in general, so we have many different gaming systems. Coming out of Spider-Man and into the Spider-Verse movie, I just needed more Spider-Man. My brother has a PS4 and the Spider-Man game, so I got it. 100% everything in like a week. Such a fun and amazing game. I needed more. I bought and downloaded the first DLC, and I couldn't play it. It just wouldn't work, and I struggled to play it. Looked around online and found out that I had the UK version of the game and US DLC. I'm from Houston, by the way, so I got a US version from Redbox just to see if it would play the DLC. But my memory and achievements wouldn't transfer easily when creating an account, so hacking. So I would just have to start over pretty much. I decided that I would just watch the cutscenes instead. The whole DLC process kind of took the wind out of my sails and just bummed me out about the PS4 and Spider-Man, fully knowing it's not their fault. Well, it was Amazon's fault. So what game just left you with a super bad experience or memory, even though the game was completely innocent in the matter? Keep raging on. And that's from Oscar. And he says, P.S. I've been trying to connect to the Discord server, but I just don't know how. I've looked on Patreon for the email for like an invite or something, and I can't figure it out. Sorry. Allow me to just say at this moment, it's not enough just to post $5, and it's not enough. Like, you're not going to find an invite. There's literally like a button. There's like a tier called Discord access, and you have to push that button. And like just editing your pledge from $1 to $5 doesn't work. You have to hit that button, and when you do that, you connect your Discord to the Patreon, and then it'll do it. I feel like I've had a few people that have emailed me saying like, well, I just set it to $5 and it won't work. It's like you have to literally, it's a stupid Patreon thing. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's fucked up my Patreon stuff because people have lowered their tier to get into that or whatever, and then I need to have like more tiers
there are people
or something.
that did like $20 a month, and then like they clicked that button and it just auto lowered them to $5.
Yeah, so I need to do more. I don't know what. See, now I'm in a place of like, what else do I offer people as incentives? But in any case, So anyway, something that started to play it. We got a lot of kind of the similar questions. I feel like.
But I was trying to think of a game that I just couldn't play. Wasn't the game's fault.
I gave up on New Vegas a bunch of times just because of the mod. Before they had that like mod manager, and you had to be downloading like these individual mods one at a time, and that was just a pain in the ass. And I was like, do I really want to do
there
this?
was something on the PC that I bought that I never actually it just wouldn't run on my PC for whatever reason, and I can't remember what it was.
I've had a ton of those just because my PC is. I don't know if it's on its last legs or I just need to reformat it, but it needs something.
Yes.
Yeah.
To both.
Yes. Probably both. Probably need a new one and let's see. I'm trying to think of something, but I'm not coming up with anything. So let's just do one more here since we're already pretty long. That's all right. Captain Innuendo writes in and says, howdy, Jeff and John. Captain Innuendo here with a quick podcast question. Just finished reading Metro 2033 and replaying the redo versions of the game in anticipation for Exodus. The games are pretty faithful to the source material with some exceptions. Like in the first book, Artyom only kills one person. What book or book series would you want to be adapted into a game? Jeff, I know you're balls deep into sci-fi novels. What space series would you like to fly around, and what kind of game would it be? Space Sim, RTS, first person, etc. As always, keep up the good work, and that's from Captain Innuendo. I actually have an answer for that I think is not any of the books that I normally talk about.
Okay.
I would really, really, really like to see futuristic violence and fancy suits made into like an open world GTA style game, because that's such an interesting universe. That's the David Wong book where it's like people have like kind of cybernetic superpowers. It's like a near future, and people have kind of given themselves superpowers, but it's not super safe. And they're all in this city that was built from the ground up to basically be lawless and have no government. And then this girl whose father was like the founder of the city, like he dies and gives her control of this city. And so then there's these like weird kind of factions and corporations and these weird outlaw superheroes all kind of trying to fight to get control of the city from her. It's a really great book. Like I like that. And I would even say that if you wanted something else that was really interesting, I think that the John Dies at the End series would make a fantastic series of horror video games, because they're so kind of like punk rock and different that I think that they would make for a really interesting tone. Kind of Slackers meets the end of the world with some weird shit, the video game. Like I can think of about a dozen different ways that you could do that. By the way, if in case it hasn't become obvious, I'm a real big fan of David Wong and all his books. I think you should go read all of them. So, like this book is full of spiders. Seriously, don't touch it is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I don't know. Can you think of a book or like comic or something you like to do?
I'm going to be honest. Comic wise, I don't know.
I really liked wasn't Spider-Man Noir in one of the Spider-Man games?
Yeah, it was Shattered Dimensions.
Okay. I really like that character in Into the Spider-Verse. I kind of feel like I want to know more about Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it just I actually really think East of West would make a really good open world game.
Okay.
It's kind of a post-apocalyptic western where the main character is one of the Four Horsemen.
Okay.
And it's like an alternate history where during the American Civil War, this meteorite came down and crash landed, and it actually stopped all war in the United States.
Okay.
And some people worshipped it like a god almost because of it also like protruded like strange auras and things like that. And just the United States got divided into like 5 different countries, and it's fucking crazy, but it's treated like a Wild West kind of thing. It's futuristic, and I think that'd be great for a video game to do something with.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Well, do you think we should wrap it up?
Yeah,
so we're kind of to the end of it here.
Yeah.
So, mail@rageselect.com is the email address. Send some questions in. We always need questions. John, you also have a podcast that people can listen to.
It's called Geek Bombast. Talk about comics, movies, TV, video games, and anything else deemed totally awesome. You can join me and sometimes co-hosts Amanda or Michael, who also both do videos on this website, and then also people who are not on this website, like Rod Nunley and Nick Budd. They kind of alter out as they are available. To talk about just different stuff. We didn't have an episode last week because of personal stuff, and then this week we're probably going to be deep diving into more of a discussion on Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol.
Okay.
Which I talked about earlier in this episode a little bit. But you'll also get to hear other people's opinions on that episode as well.
Cool. All right.
But you can find it on all the podcast places, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, things like that. So
right on. Well, that's it for another Rage Select podcast. We're done. I don't know what to say. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.